I said, plug me in. I got stuff to talk about, damn it. I'll crawl out of my earbuds once a week to give you a show. That's what I do, folks. I do this show for the common man, for the people in despair. I bring this show into the world and I sell it everywhere. The simple truth lies waiting here, folks, for all of you to share. Hold on, I will take you there. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Holy fucking God, am I loud in my head? What the hell is going? What happened here in your house? We are on site. We're at the oldest building in Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to talk. I'm going to have to talk this quiet, but I'm still kind of loud. We're at the oldest building in Hollywood because last week, as you know, the show was done from a fucking terminal at an airport. We were at O'Hare Airport and we were being stared at by people and they were just looking at me askance. And I don't care for that askance-ness. But now I'm back here with our good friend Lily Von Stupp in her house in the oldest building in Hollywood, and I'm fucking crazy. This is like booming. This is, you know what I sound like? I sound like I'm trying to force me out of a building. That's how loud I am in my own head.
Would you like me to turn it down a little?
Wait a minute, hold on a second. Let me stop you really quickly. You propose that maybe we turn this down a little?
Yeah.
After I've talked about it now for like a minute about how fucking I'm bleeding out the eyes. Yes.
Well, I don't see the blood, so I don't, and I'm not in your headphones, so I don't know how loud it really is. But I can turn it down a little.
It's pretty super fucking loud. What are you doing? All right, yeah. So that's all right. That's a little better.
Better?
Yeah.
Is it better like this?
Okay, that's fun. If strap the little ocular machine on me, that'd be fun. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's an ear killer machine.
It is an ear killer machine. Oh, that's all right.
I'm sorry. Did I?
No, that's I.
How is the level?
The level's fine. Well, I mean, let's put it this way. I wish my eye level would have been a little different right about then, but the ear level seems to be.
Oh my god! Fuck.
Oh Jesus. Look, Lily, we're friends.
Yes, we are.
We've been friends a long time. And that's an angle I'm not familiar with. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oops.
All right. There's you know what? Look, I do this show here every week, unless I'm in an airport somewhere. And I do this show in the oldest kitchen in Hollywood under the watchful eye of a naked painting of Lily, and I won't lie to you, that's weird enough for me. That's weird enough for me. And I did a show once where I talked about when Lily had her gathering at a gallery opening. And at the end of it, all of a sudden Lily decided, hey, guess what? I'm taking off my dress. And I was like 3 feet away and I was standing there and all of a sudden Lily was topless and like naked. And that was strange. I won't lie. I was not ready for it. I was not prepared for it. To this day, still a little shocked by it. I couldn't believe that you would do something like that. Certainly not in a public place. That's not our Lily. That's not the Lily that I know. But I'm sitting here today, and I was gone last week. So for 2 weeks, I haven't been in this building. I haven't been here. She's been out traipsing around the universe. She's going off and doing burlesque shows all over this great land of ours. And now we finally get together here in the building today to finally do an official show with equipment and a computer and everything. I'm not talking to a phone. I'm not getting stared at by travelers. And I'm way too loud in my head. I don't know who monkeyed with your volume control while I wasn't here. For 2 weeks, what are you doing? Are you know what are you doing? Are you turning it like way up and putting on the headphones like, I'm Mike, duh, I'm Mike. Is that what you're doing? Pretending to be me?
I'm Mike, duh.
Duh, I'm Mike, duh, 40-year-old boy, duh. That's what I would do. I would pretend to be the podcast guy. Maybe you were doing that, but somehow your volume got turned way up. And that was nice of you to offer to turn it down. Certainly, I needed it down, but I guess I wasn't expecting to give you a gynecological exam while you were turning down the volume.
Look.
I did.
My underwear are all in the shop.
Our friend Lily is wearing a dress. And she just got up and leaned over a table to turn the volume down on my headphones. And I think I may owe her $20. I may owe her $20 at this point. Wow. You know, I don't get that view a lot, and when I do, usually pour some sugar on me as playing at high volume. Wow. That was because Lily's wearing a dress, and when I got in today, didn't I say, "Wow, I've never seen that dress. That looks very nice on you." Didn't I say that? I did like that dress on you. I'm not so sure it shouldn't ride up that much.
I can't wait for Eddie to hear this.
I'm blushing. I really think I'm blushing because this is I mean 'cause this is a new. We've just crossed the 38th parallel here.
That's
We just
exactly what
crossed
it's all
we
like.
just crossed the 42 double D parallel here. And we actually crossed the equator here. We went south of the equator for the first time on this show. And we've had an incident in the past where our friend Lily was scrolling on my phone when she shouldn't have been. She clearly should not have been doing that. And stumbled onto something that she wasn't supposed to see. Was not for her or her eyes. And that happened then, which was not good. But now I can say this with quiet confidence. We're even.
I don't think so.
I think we are.
I think we're more even on my end.
Definitely, I think so. I think I certainly won the exchange because my photograph may have been shadowy and he was wearing a hat. I mean, I think there was a disguise on him at some point.
I like that.
Well, I like putting a hat on there.
Glasses with the Groucho mustache.
I don't fuck around. That wasn't a Groucho mustache. That's actually a birthmark. All right, so an unfortunate birthmark, but a birthmark nonetheless. Listen, your cock is very distinctive if you have a Groucho Marx mustache birthmark. That's perfect. And I will tell you this, every time I have sex with a girl, a duck drops from the ceiling. That's a reference for nobody. Nobody gets that. Because I'll tell you what, the secret word is yes.
Oh my god.
I'm clammy. Like I don't certainly that's an unfortunate word to use. That's probably an unfortunate word to use at this point. But I'm a little like kind of sweaty.
Why did I put you off like that?
That was I didn't expect it. I certainly didn't. And it's my fault, I suppose. I mean I mean how could I not? I was like the guest of honor at a dinner and you took the fucking silver top off your vagina. I mean, it was like, what the hell just happened there? You carried it out and like on a chafing dish and you pulled off that big silver lid.
I forgot. What can I say?
You forgot?
The privacy of my own home, I forgot.
Well, this is the oldest building in Hollywood, so you are given to that sort of behavior, I would suppose, because, I mean, underwear's passe. They never wore that in the 20s.
I'm completely naked in my house unless we have company. At all times.
Really?
Sometimes if I'm cold, I'll wear socks and a hat. But I'm always naked.
Hold on. I like that. Oh, the socks and a hat. All right, that... I can actually... Well, it's funny. I can actually picture that now. I can picture you just with socks and a hat. Oh, my Christ. All right. You got to throw some mittens into the deal there.
I can't type.
All right. Fuck. I don't know. Where do we go from here? Now that all of the children have grown up. And how do we spend our time knowing that nobody gives us a damn?
You don't feel awkward around me now, do you? I mean, it's not weird.
Give me some time to recover from it. It's only been like 5 minutes. I love that I'm supposed to just shake off the awkward by now. You're just like, hey, come on, man. You're not awkward anymore. What do you mean I'm not awkward anymore?
I saw your penis on your phone?
Don't call it that. Give it a better name.
Okay. When I saw your tool on your phone.
There, I like that. That works out. It's so funny. My laptop is all screwed up, and I have to bring it in, but I don't want to because it is just it. I have to take the photographs off of it. I have to. I can't bring it into the Apple dudes and have them just be like, "Oh, here's your problem. 94 cock photos in this folder, and 5 photos of Groucho." Well, that's really not. All right. So I don't. Fuck. Do we have to start over? I think we have to start over or something. Because I'm honestly, that's like, am I supposed to have 7 years bad luck or any of that? I don't know what happens.
I hope not. I don't think my vagina has that effect.
I wouldn't know. I mean, but now that's well. I mean, it is for like friends, like because in a different arena, like obviously.
Just a vagina.
Yes, I know, but still, it's yours.
Well, don't come to the strip club then.
I think the fringe was a nice touch. You've got the vagina with the fringe on top. That's really, really nice.
Oh my god.
Well, I gotta be. That was really. And I'm not. I'm not usually this guy. I mean, because look, I see a lot of vaginas, on the internet and stuff, and I'm just able to breeze right by them and just be like, yeah, whatever, vaginas. But just rarely was that. I mean, that just. And I've known you a long time, and it just never. It never came up, and I never. It was not anything that was going to be happening, and I don't. I never expected it. It just caught me by surprise. That's all. One second, I'm screaming in my head, and I'm hearing my own voice echoing, and now, I close my eyes and I see it. It's just there. It's looming. You have a looming vagina.
It's not looming at all, nor is it crocheting.
It was lurking.
It wasn't doing any of those things.
It was looming.
It was minding its own business.
Your vagina's Rapunzel. It was totally looming. All right. It was turning gold into straw? No, you wouldn't want to do that. Who would want to do that? Let's turn gold into straw. That seems like that's a terrible plan.
My vagina would do.
I think so, yeah. Let's be honest. Your vagina's misbehaving. And I know it'll say that it ain't misbehaving. But I will say this. Do brown patent leather vaginas really reflect up? All right, so. All right, so there was show to do, right? We're supposed to talk and do stuff, but I feel like I want to lie down. I don't know. I'm a little woozy from this. I love the fact that you're just riding it out. You're just like, yeah, that's cool, man. And I'm like, what do you mean that's cool, man? Shouldn't you just like be, I don't know, what shouldn't you?
So many people have seen it in my lifetime. I'm not, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, but I'm me.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it was there for fun. It was just there briefly.
Define briefly.
How long did...
It's a good time for me to tell you Lily is still bent over using the volume knob.
I'm not.
I should tell you that right now.
Honestly, I think it was probably a half a second, but to you it seemed like an eternity because you like froze going...
Well, yeah, because it was unexpected, certainly unexpected. I did not expect that to come leaping out at me.
We brought in a police artist right now. Could you draw a sketch of it?
I could do it now myself.
Wow, that's creepy.
I don't need a police artist.
I don't think I could do a sketch of your penis. I don't...
Okay. Well, I got some photos, by the way.
I saw it in passing,
Yes.
And I went, oh, it's a penis, whatever.
Yeah, but I didn't see that in passing. That wasn't in passing at all.
You should just now move on. Think of other vaginas that you have fun with and not a vagina that you accidentally saw.
Well, first of all, they're not other vaginas I have fun with. I would.
I'm sure there's some on the internet that you look at occasionally, and I'm sure there's some on your phone you might look at.
Nope.
There might be one in person you look at.
Well, there is one in person, and that's why I'm saying I don't have other vaginas to deal with. There's just like the one,
The
and
other
that's
vagina.
yeah. No, that's the vagina. Your vagina is the other vagina.
But I'm the accidental vagina.
Yes,
And it's
you are.
not something that happened. It just was a quick glimpse.
Yeah, I know, but it's seared into my
I think you're
brain.
making a much bigger deal about this. I think you're uncomfortable with vaginas.
Are you kidding me? I love vaginas. No, I'm not uncomfortable at all. I
You
didn't
just
expect.
have mine.
Yeah, I won't lie to you. Yes, it was a little. It threw me off a bit. And I would love to be all Fritz the Cat about this and be like, yeah, Daddy-O, pretty smooth. I don't know why that came into my head. I have no idea.
By the way, it's good to know that my vagina throws you off. It's not the first time I've heard that.
See? All right, there you go. Could I draw it? Probably. Did you ever see that Sesame Street with the Muppets that were aliens who would go, yep, 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 yep? Kind of like that. It looked a little like that.
You're an idiot.
It sort of did.
The pink threw you off. The fur.
Yeah, a little bit.
And the googly eyes were kind of weird.
Well, not weird. I like those. That's a good plan. It is Halloween still, or it's close.
I'm just picturing a vagina with the googly eyes now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It really is.
Yeah, it is.
That's a photo I want to take.
Do it. Not now. It was kind of like a front-loading dryer wearing a sheepskin rug. It was kind of like, I'm sorry, you okay? Is a spit out a little soda there? It was a little bit like that.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like if someone had put a.
Do we really need to describe it in depth?
Why not?
I think we
What
can
else are
do
we
that.
doing today?
Hopefully you're doing a podcast.
Have you ever seen the old Batman series?
Oh my God, it's vagina talk.
Do you remember in the beginning when they would drive out of the Batcave and that cave wall would open and there was all that stuff hanging in front of it to disguise it? I would go with that. Your vagina's like the Batcave with the foliage underbrush growing in the front to cover it up, to make sure nobody can just sneak in. You don't want any supervillains sneaking in there.
No, I know.
You're hiding it from the road.
I'm not hiding it. I like hair. What can I say?
All right. Well, oh boy. All right. Now we're gonna start. Let's not.
Not. Welcome to Awkward Talk.
This is. I'm a little fried. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was just different. That's like seeing your moms or something. I mean, that's your podcast mom. Your podcast mom. I can't do that. That's just awful. I need to do. You have any bleach? Because if you have any bleach, it's going right in my eyes. I need to do that right away. Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. Maybe if I start over, I'll forget. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just, oh my God. All right. So, yeah, that was, all right. So, hi, everybody. I'm here to talk about stuff that's comedy. I really feel discombobulated. I don't even know why. Because I just saw my own mortality just reflected right back at me. My
vagina is your mortality.
Well, it was in there. It was lurking.
Everything goes there to die.
Turned me to stone. You have a Medusa vagina. You have a vagina. A vajusa. All right.
Move on.
I probably should. All right. Things are good here. I can tell you that, folks. Up until that, things are really good. Things have changed. There's a change in the air here at the oldest building in Hollywood because our good friend Lily Von Schupp, like I said, she's wearing a very nice dress. It is really nice, if a bit short, but it is still very nice. But when I walked in today, as you know, Lily has had. I was in the. I sat down, ready to do a show. I should tell you this. I sat down, and I set up the microphone, and then I went, "Hey, wait a second. Why am I in a rolly chair?" And Lily's like, because I now have my own rolly chair. And I look and I notice, and she has, like, what's it called, an Aeron? Is that what it is? She has an Aeron chair. So she gave me back my rolly chair, and I have no idea where the hard fucking wooden chair went, but it's been retired. We don't ever have to deal with it ever again, folks. As long as Lily's rolly chair holds out, and she doesn't have to abscond with my rolly chair. I was like, that's going to be really good for this week. I'm going to come in because last week, again, I was reclining in a fucking in gate K3 or wherever the fuck I was. And that was awkward. But today I am in the oldest building in Hollywood, and I am in a rolly chair. All is right with the world, I guess is what I'm saying, folks. All is right with the world here now. And Lily is at the peak of her powers. She went this week and she was doing really great things in Las Vegas and working at the Burlesque Festival. And she's off to Arizona at the end of this week and just doing amazing things. And I'm back in town. As you know, last week I had flown out of town and I was gone. And I watched a lady throw up all over herself on a plane. That was really fun. Boy, that's fun stuff. I'll tell you that. Because I'll tell you, when you're in one of those flying death tubes, you love the smell of vomit. Oh my Christ, is it great? But everything turned out to be fine. I guess she's alive. I don't know. It wasn't in the paper that she was dead. Who knows? And by the way, I say in the paper as if I've ever read a newspaper in the last 4 years. I honestly, that is not, I don't do that at all. I can't even imagine. It just seems like such an antiquated notion now to buy a newspaper or to read it. Last time I read a newspaper, I think it was at fucking Mex's house. We were just sitting around the kitchen table eating lunch, and I just grabbed it because it was sitting there, and I thumbed through it. And it seemed, honestly, I'm a guy who read 5 newspapers a day. I mean, I bought them, I brought them home, I read them, and I saved them. I did all that shit. I still have a ton of newspapers that I've circled stories in to keep. And fuck me, dude. When I opened the paper at Mex's house, I remember it just felt so foreign to be doing that, to open up this gigantic tabloid, like it wasn't even tabloid, it was the Chicago Tribune, so it was sections. So you have to unfold it in half, and then you open it, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, why did I used to read wallpaper? What the fuck is wrong with me? Newspapers should be book-sized, right? Shouldn't they? I mean, is it something to do with the rollers or all that? Yes, they should. They should be tiny little pamphlets. Like, that's what a newspaper should be. It should be like a little book they put out every day. Yeah. Or better yet, they should just put all the news electronically on some sort of machine or device that you could read it on while you were walking around. Wouldn't that be perfect? I think all of my news should come electronically. Yeah, that's what I fucking do. I just read that. You know, it's funny. Like the other day, someone mentioned the Drudge Report. And in my head, I went, is that still a thing? Like, is that still around? Because I used to go there every day. I would go look at the Drudge Report, if only to anger myself by the ridiculousness that Drudge was participating in. But now, dude, and it's so funny, I didn't even go to investigate it then because now I didn't even want to fucking go to the Drudge Report because I don't even know if he's gone ahead and found a way to track me if I go there and then he's going to send me some sort of fundraising bullshit. I don't know. Matt Drudge is a fucking terrible guy, right? He's awful. Did you guys ever deal with him? Did you ever have him on the show?
No, he's awful.
But he is awful, right? He's like a self-hating gay dude, and he's like, he totally goes against his own self-interest because he puts up all these fucking vicious headlines about people that he should be supporting, and he's just a dick, right? Right?
Yep.
Take it from me, I know, folks. If anyone who's going to know that a guy is a fucking jagoff, it's going to be me. Because I have dealt with a lot of jagoffs, and we will get to that shortly. Folks, we're trying to keep ourselves safe. Right? Isn't that what we're doing? All of us? We're guarded. We're insular. And now with this Ebola bullshit, we're all walking around in fucking hazmat suits and trying not to catch anything, right? Right? I called our friend Lily today, and I was supposed to be here at like 12:30 in the afternoon, and it was about 12:15. I was leaving my house, and I was like, you know what? I am fucking starving. I got to grab some lunch. So I texted her. I go, I need a favor. Is it okay if I grab some lunch? Do you want anything? She's like, yeah. And but here's the weirdest thing. I was texting her to say, hey, I'm leaving the house now. I have a favor to ask. Is there a way I can stop and get some lunch? I am starving. And right when I sent it, a text appeared from her. I hit send, and it was like on its way. And a text appeared from her, and she goes, this is the weirdest text I will ever send you in my life. Can you please get me some Ritz crackers? Because every week I ask her, I'm like, hey, man, what do you want? Pepsi, lunch, chocolate? And she's just like, I don't want anything. I'm fine. Sometimes she'll want Pepsi. But she wanted Ritz crackers. And I'm like, and it tied in perfectly because I was going to Gelson's supermarket to get lunch. Because it was funny. I brought Jill there. But one day when we went to, I talked about going to the zoo. I talked about the zoo on here, right? I spooked Jill out when she was looking for that spider, and I totally grabbed her. Yeah, it was funny. All right, so. It was funny to me. I laughed. I thought it was great. But that's where we bought a picnic. And so now I find myself gravitating over there now to buy sandwiches rather than going to Subway because I don't want a Subway sandwich. Because, I don't need a fucking... Like, when I go to Subway, I get a 6 foot... 6 foot? Holy God, that's a gigantic sandwich. That's a sandwich as tall as me. A 6 foot sandwich. No, so I don't want to... I usually get like a 6-inch sandwich. But, I didn't want to go to Subway because I go to Gelson's and I can get a giant sandwich with like fresh ingredients. Boar's Head, as we all know, I'm a Boar's Head man, folks. And a couple of side dishes. So I wanted to go to Gelson's. So I go to Gelson's today. And first I had to stop and get gas. And there was a Chevron by my house. It was a Chevron that is now a Union 76. So I had to put in gas. But the thing is, when they became a Union 76, they changed the gas pumps. So I put it in my car. And dude, I don't know what the fuck it is, but there's some kind of gas pumps here in California. Like, I don't know where you live. Like, if you live in Iowa, they just the gas gets poured out of like a sprinkling can, a watering can from a garden. It's like, this giant hose and it's all huge. And it's Naked Pipe, which, my God, is a great name for a band, right? Actually, that should be my porn name, Naked Pipe. Hi, how you doing? I'm Naked Pipe. I went there, but they have the fucking... In California, they put clothes on the gas pumps. You know what I mean? Like, they put rubber clothes on it so it doesn't, I guess, fumes don't go into the atmosphere, whatever the bullshit is. It's nonsense. It's just a trick. It's a horrible trick. Because I got news for you. The environment is still, we're not saving anything. Everything's being ruined as we speak. There's acid rain. There's dinosaurs. There's all sorts of bullshit out there that none of us know about. But it's happening, and there's nothing, I tell you what, inconveniencing me when I put gas in my car is not going to save the environment. Lily thinks it might. Perhaps it will. All right, maybe it will. So what? But there's nothing more frustrating than when I put the fucking gas pump in my car, and then you hit it and you try to put the little latch on, and then it just stops. And I keep putting gas in. It's like clunk, clunk, because I don't know if it's getting backsplash because of the angle of the gas tank, but it's because the rubber thing is too stiff and it won't let the fucking gas pump go into my car.
Life is so hard.
It's very difficult, and I don't think I didn't think that while it was going on. Because I had to stand there. It's like in the old days, you used to have to pump your gas. But I'll be honest, fuck that. In the old days, there was some fucking hobo who'd walk out and go, hey, check your oil, sir. And he had like a bright white suit on. And you go, yes, of course. And you sat in the car and laughed at him as he gassed your car up and checked your oil. Dude cleaned your windows. He did everything for fucking nothing, for free, because that was his job. He was an attendant and he was proud of it. But now I'm my own attendant. And they've made the equipment faulty. It's faulty equipment. I'm not wearing a cream white suit and a fucking captain's hat. I shouldn't put my own gas in my fucking car. Bring those dudes back. I tell you what, if they had a fucking... Because I will say this. Where was I when it scared the shit out of me? I was in some state and I pulled into the gas thing and the guy walked out and I was like, what the fuck, dude? And he's like, no, it's the law out here that we have to have attendance. I forget where it was.
Oregon.
Is it Oregon?
Yeah.
I was in Portland probably. I was in Portland and I went to fucking get gas in my car and this dude wandered out and he's just like, yeah, I'll do that. I'm like, whoa, hippie, back the fuck off. And especially because he wasn't wearing the suit. I think he had a fucking like... he was in a patchouli cloud and he was covered in a goddamn poncho. Dude, no, fuck that. Wear the outfit. If you're going to be fucking the Speedy McFeely of my car, then at least wear the goddamn outfit. Wear the cream white fucking fronts and then the captain's hat and come out here and go, hey, man, clean your windows? Yeah, clean my fucking windows. I'm going to sit in the car and just fucking stare at you and laugh. But in California, I'm that guy. for my own car. Now, certainly there are hobos who come out of the woodwork and ask to wash my windows with a grimy towel. Get lost, hobo. I hate that. Sir, can I wash your windows? No, you can't. Dude, you can't wash yourself. Look at a mirror. You are filthy. Somewhere in this country, there's a shower running. Dive into it. Because you are a goddamn mess. You are a walking mud puddle. Look at yourself, sir. Look at yourself, sir. You should be at the Peanuts dance, spreading your cloud all over the goddamn place. God, I love that song.
I do too.
And as we all know, I want to have a movie where somebody gets killed with that song. All right, so.
Let's do it.
Huh?
Let's make our own movie. Let's do it right now.
Right now?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, we're doing a podcast, though. And honestly, there's no shortage of candidates to be killed in this building, so let's go ahead and do it.
Not in this building.
No, bullshit. We go real life snuff film. Let's take somebody out.
No!
Fuck, let's kill that dude from the Black Hole Sun video across the hall.
No, I like him. He's nice.
No, he's creepy. Every time I get here, I expect him to come walking with a crucifix on his back, dragging it. He looks like one of the 3 dudes they killed with Jesus.
He kind of does.
Yeah. Because he's all spindly and weird looking. He is. The guy looks like a human corkscrew.
Sorry, I interrupted your important.
No, that's okay. He's all twisty and he's got the fucking crazy hair. But every time I come here, I expect the door to open and him to drag a crucifix out on his back as he's on his way to his own fucking crucifixion. Literally, he looks like one of those dudes they killed with Jesus. That guy needs a crown of thorns. And I can tell you this, Chloe don't know better. Chloe's just like me.
Oh, fuck.
Only beautiful. So, what were we talking about?
I have no idea.
We were talking about something.
Gas pumping.
Gasoline pumping. Yeah, so I had to stop and get gas today, and it was just a fucking mess. And so then and it's the thing where I'm holding the gas pump, it's like, ka-cha-chung, 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 and it kept stopping, and I was pissed. And sometimes you can go find a different pump at the same gas station, or you have to go to a fucking, because I was bone dry. I'll tell you this, folks, I was bone dry. I went out of town for a week, and I left my car in the carport, bone dry. And I got home, and the little gas phantom came on my fucking dashboard, and he's like, dude, fill me. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I went to the gym this morning and lifted, and then I had to go get gas on the way here, and I stopped, and it was like fucking chunking around. And it was I will tell you this, was awesome. And I'm like, fuck, I could get a new pump. Where are we at here? And I turn around and I look at the gas pump, $6.66. And I said, I am totally leaving this. This is the amount of gas I absolutely want in my car. So I put the fucking pump up, and I waited for somebody to just drive up and look at it and be like, El Diablo. Dios mío. So I backed up and I went to the other pump, and this was a different pump. This pump didn't have clothes on the handle. He only had clothes on his face. And so I was holding the handle as all just straight naked pipe, and but it did the same thing. It was like, ka-chung, ka-chung, ka-chung. I'm like, motherfucker. And it's so funny. I actually said that because I'm an idiot. There's other people gassing up the car, but I couldn't get it to do it. And other people are doing it fine, but it wouldn't do it for me. And I just went, motherfucker. And in my head, I went, first of all, you just yelled that in a place, which you're a stupid guy for doing that. You're terrible. And you know what's funny? I have another story to tell you that happened last night, and it's the same type of thing. How do I not learn? Stop yelling motherfucker in places, you know? Because I talk, and the thing is, nobody's used to the way I talk. Because I just say shit and I don't even think. Because I guess I think that I'm here and I can do whatever the fuck I want and say what I want. But I guess I've done that my whole life, no matter where the fuck I was. I just kind of say stuff because it's funny. Like today, we were in the gym, all right? I was lifting with John in the gym this morning, and they went live on CNN, and they're like, breaking news. And it was a scaffold hanging from the fucking World Trade Center, from One World Trade. And they're like, oh my God, this scaffold is hanging. And this weightlifter dude is just like, wow, that's crazy. And I said, see, this is why you fly a plane into these buildings and not a scaffold. And this dude looked at me, and of course, that should be my cue that he thinks I'm weird and I should not say anything else. But of course, when I say that, I got to double down on it, right, folks? I got to double down. So I go, that's why you fly a plane in this building and not a scaffold. And he looks at me like, what? And I'm like, yeah. Plane goes right through the building and gets the fucking job done. Scaffold just bounces off and hangs there, and you look like a jag-off in front of everybody. And him and his client, and my trainer John is just like laughing because he knows I'm an idiot already at this point. But the other people in the gym are just like, did you just make 9/11 jokes and you're pretending like there's scaffold tried to go through are you insinuating this is a terrorist attack of some sort? You could just see it all unfolding on their faces at once. And I wanted to go, you know what? Buy a newspaper for once, folks. Read it cover to cover. I can't believe I used to read a tarp with news stories on it. I cannot believe every day. And not just one, 5 of them. I would go to the store. I would buy 5 dinner mats. Basically, they're placemats. They're gigantic. They're unfold. It's just, I would buy 5 beach towels with news on them, and I would read it out to myself, not out loud. Sometimes out loud. I used to recite the news. That's how I did it. But that's the thing is, I say shit and I don't even think, because I just say it, and because all right, that happened to me. I was with Jill last week, and I just started talking, and she's getting used to me now because she knows I'm just an idiot, I think, at this point, and she still decided to stick around, which I don't understand, and I'm happy, and I'm so thrilled that she's decided it. But eventually, she's just going to go, "You're an idiot," and maybe I should leave, right? Isn't she going to do that? We were at her house, and we're on her couch. I was just there last week, and I'll get to that. I'll tell you a little bit more about it later. But we had a couple of days that were just, they were just awesome. The whole week was fucking beautiful. But there were a couple of days where we didn't do anything. Friday night, or no, Saturday night. Saturday night, we sat on the couch, and she, under 2 blankets with the heat up, we cranked the heat up in the house. We got home, we sit on the couch, and we're under a couple of blankets, and we're just watching, like, crime shows, and she fell asleep. Like, she fell asleep on top of me. Dude, do you know how fabulous that is? Do you know how amazing that is? I took pictures of her sleeping. And then I told her I took pictures of her sleeping. She's like, what? And I go, yeah, I took some pictures of you sleeping. Look. And she's like, oh, honey, why? And I said, because you're so gorgeous when you're sleeping. Because she says that to me. She's like, oh my God, you were so cute when you were sleeping. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to show you how cute you are when you're sleeping. And then we just laughed and laughed, and we realized we were in love forever, and we had cotton candy. All right, so that just sounds ridiculous. Oh my God. That's just awful. All right, so that just sounds like, yeah, and then we went and we skipped through a field of flowers. All right, so idiot. But I would rather do that than go to a million events. To be on the couch, and she's laying with her legs across my lap, and she's sleeping, and I'm watching crime shows. And look, we were old. I'm not gonna lie to you. We were old people this week. I was old. She wasn't. She was humoring me. But this is gonna be, dudes. There's nothing worse than when you feel old, when something happens to make you feel old. Because I know I'm old, all right? I get that. But I'm still able to function like a normal person. But then something happened to my back at her house. And, she's sore all the time. She has like a bad neck and stuff, so she has to get massages. But like I had a fucking... my back went out to the point where I kept having to like adjust and switch and bend over and lift my legs up. And it was just that thing where it just wouldn't stop. It was this nagging back pain. So we got on the couch, and she's like, honey, do you want a heating pad? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I've never used one of those. And she's like, yeah, it'll work. And so she gives me this heating pad. Now look, all that is it's just a flat plastic thing that comes in like a wool case, and then you plug it into the wall and it turns hot. That's all it is. It's literally a heating pad. It's a pad that gets heated. And I've never used them. I don't know anything about it. And so she plugs it in, and I put it on my back, and I'm fine. Like I was miraculously fine while the fucking heating pad was on my back. Now, as long as the heating pad was on my back, if I stood up, I immediately collapsed to the floor. It was just terrible. I was a paraplegic. But sitting on the couch, that seems strong. But sitting on the couch with the fucking thing on my back, I was fine. It was great. So I'm just sitting there, but I'm sitting there. We're under 3 blankets with the heat cranked up. It's like 8 o'clock on Saturday night, and she's asleep, and she's got her legs across my lap, and I got a heating pad on, and I'm just there with water and chocolate within reach, and I'm like, this is exactly where I want to be. I don't ever want to be anywhere else, but right here in this moment. And she would periodically wake up and say things, and it was so cute, and then she'd go back to sleep. Then she woke up and she sat up, and she's checking her phone, and we were looking, and I turned on the guide because I was finding all crime shows to watch. And because I watched a show called Fatal Vows. I watched Snapped. I watched Forensic Files. That's what we watch. We watch those constantly, to the point now that we're both like a little freaked out. Like whenever anybody does anything, we're just like, we went when we were walking in Central Park in New York. I'll get to that eventually. But we are so, this is how tuned into these fucking crime shows we are. We were walking in Central Park, and we were looking for evidence. Like we would go behind like bushes, there were hedges, and we went in there and we looked, and there was like a hoodie and an empty backpack. And we were like, somebody died on this clearing. We need to call the police. We've constantly got our guys out for it because we're on the case. We are on the case. We are Scarecrow and Mrs. I can't believe she loves the Scarecrow. That's who we are. That's who we are as a detective team. So we were on the couch, and I turned on the guide to try to find something to watch. And on the PBS station, it came up that Antiques Roadshow was on. And right after Antiques Roadshow, because, they give you the titles of the shows. And it said Antiques Roadshow, and right after that, Death Camp in Treblinka.
What?
And I said, whoa. I go, Death Camp in Treblinka. I go, that's just, I mean, that tells you exactly what that show's about. Death Camp in Treblinka. I go, that's not fucking around. And she's like, well, no, it's about, the Holocaust. And I go, yeah, exactly. I go, but it's specifically about Treblinka. I go, they don't even bother to sugarcoat it like, stories of promise coming out of the Treblinka. No, it's fucking Death Camp in Treblinka. That's the name. That sounds like a punk band. I mean, like literally, that's the name of the show. And my favorite part, I said to her, I go, it's on after Antiques Roadshow. I go, that's awful. That's not a fucking combination you want to have. I go, imagine. You know what? That's terrible for old people because old people watch Antiques Roadshow and then they're watching the show and then they fall asleep and then they wake up and all of a sudden they're thrust into the horrors of Treblinka and it's like, dude, what happened to the wicker chair? Where'd the fucking wicker chair go? And I said, you know what? That's even worse. What if you're a fucking survivor of Treblinka? What if you're some kid and got out of Treblinka alive and then you're watching the Antiques Roadshow now because you're older and then you fall asleep as they're talking about someone just found an antique tattooing machine in their attic. And then you realize you're like, oh yeah, I have that tattoo from when I was in Treblinka, and you fall asleep and you wake up and oh my god, Death Camp in Treblinka. That's horrible. You can't just fucking spring that on somebody. They were just watching old people selling paintings and antique tattoo machines, and now they're thrust back into the horrors perpetrated upon them by the commandant. That's fucking terrible. They were just old like me. They get a heating pad on, they wake up, and all of a sudden they're back in Treblinka. Fuck that, man. You can't do that, PBS. Although, in fairness, Hitler did have a very nice fruit bowl that he brought to the Antiques Roadshow. So, you know how many bananas you can fit in that bowl? 9. I don't look, if you're shaking your head, I am too. I don't know why. I have no idea. I just did a Hitler fruit bowl joke. 9. God damn it, I'm awesome. All right, so I forgot what we were talking about before we went off on that tangent. I know now. So I had to stop at Gelson's today to get Ritz crackers for my friend Lily. I was heading over there anyway to get myself a sandwich and a couple of sides, and so I was there. I grabbed some Ritz crackers, and I will tell you this: I showed up at Gelson's. I didn't realize Gelson's the hot spot for lunch. I get to the deli, and it's just a sea of people holding like green slips of paper with numbers on them. I'm like, I am fucking ruined. This is going to be terrible. It looked like they were auctioning off luncheon meat instead of filling orders because everybody keeps putting their hand in the air with the fucking ticket. So I grab H12 and I look up at the thing and they're on 3. And yes, but you shake your head, but everybody in front of me wants sandwiches. Like that's the thing. And so if one person is working on the sandwich thing, the other person has to wait for them to finish because there's not a big sandwich area. It's a small sandwich area, but a large deli. Well, there's nowhere really to make sandwiches except for the sandwich area, but there's only room for one person. So one sandwich at a time. And so it's daytime, so there's old people who are like pissed because they're not getting sandwiches. They just want a fucking, pound of ham. So they're like, well, can you help somebody who doesn't want a sandwich? Oh my God, why? I can hear your arteries hardening. Shut the fuck up. I mean, but I guess that's why they got to get the fuck out of there. They're old and they're like, I got to get home to my heating pad and eat a pound of ham. That's what I need to fucking do. So I sort of understood what they were doing, but at the same time, dude, there's numbers and people have to wait. You have to wait. Can you help somebody else? Jaw falls off. All right, so that used to make me laugh. Conan O'Brien used to say that all the time. He'd do old people and he'd go, jaw falls off. And it just fucking cracked me up. So I was waiting my turn like a good person. I'm not one of those shouty old people. The last 35 minutes accepted. Is it 35? Did I nail that? Where are we at? You gotta put your glasses 38. On. 38? That wasn't bad. I was right on the number. Close to the number. But if you added the theme song, might have been 40. Is it a 2-minute theme song? I don't even know. And then last week we had to pay Max double royalties because we played fucking 4 different versions of the song. So I'm there at Gelson's and I wait for them to make my sandwich. And of course, I get my, I ask, look, dude, fuck people. All right, here's the thing. Well, if you're working the sandwich counter, listen to me when I tell you what the fuck I want. All right, I want a very specific thing on my sandwich. I don't make a lot of fucking. It's not like please trim the crust off the bread and I'd like a watercress on the side. Fuck off. No, I'm not that guy. But I do want what I want, and I am fucking paying. So if I tell you to do it, do it. I don't like a mayonnaise or a mustard on my sandwich. Okay, I don't want any sort of liquid on my sandwich. What I do want is extra avocado. And I say to her, hey, is the avocado soft? And she's like, well, let me try to find out. And I said, well, I want extra avocado if it's soft. She goes, I have one very soft avocado. I go, great. I want extra avocado on my sandwich, and I want it on each slice of bread. She goes, so you want extra avocado? I go, yes. And I want it on one piece of bread and the other piece of bread because it's substituting for the mayonnaise and the mustard. So it's on there. That's kind of like the fatty part of the sandwich. That's the mayonnaise, the extra avocado. And I want it on either piece of bread with all of the other stuff in between. Now, I shouldn't have to explain it. All I should say is, I want avocado on both pieces of bread, and you should fucking do it. Because you're wearing the kerchief, you're behind the fucking counter, so do my bidding, motherfucker. Hey, sandwich slave, make what I say. You heard me, sandwich Moses. Fucking make this sandwich. Build my sandwich pyramid, motherfucker. That's what I say. Get barefoot and start stomping this mud and reeds into fucking clay so we can build my sandwich pyramid. And I want a lettuce, I want a tomato, I want extra onion, I want sprouts, I want maple honey turkey, I want Munster cheese, and I want extra avocado on a wheat bread. And yeah, I want sides. Well, what sides do you want? Well, go ahead and make my sandwich. I'm going to ponder my sides. What are you sighing for? Make my sandwich. I don't think I ordered sides on my sandwich, did I? No, I wanted lettuce and tomato and extra onion and sprouts and extra avocado. I don't recall saying I wanted a side on that sandwich. Keep your breath inside of you. You need it. You're dying. You're old. Kate, the woman at Gelson's who fucked up my sandwich. Because then, you don't get to watch it. And that's the one thing about Subway. I will say this. You get to pull up a chair and you're in the front row for your sandwich making. So you can go, no, dude, fuck that. I don't want that fucking salami. I want this salami. And they have to do it. But again, those people are artists. Kate was not a sandwich artist. And she's doing all of her fucking sandwich making in secret. I can't see it being made until it's wrapped up. And then when she hands it to me, the avocado's only on one side of the bread. You know what's on the other side of the bread? A sigh. Don't want it. Didn't order it. Yes, I'm old. Fine, I'm old. But I ordered extra avocado. That means extra avocado on two pieces of bread. And extra... Dude, I'll pay for the extra avocado. I don't care. I ordered it on purpose. You wrote down the word extra. You know what extra means. Put it on both sides of the bread. And if that means extra avocado, fucking do it. Ask me, motherfucker. I said I wanted it on both pieces of bread, Kate. You sighing wench. So furious. Fucking sandwich Kunta Kinte misbehaved. I don't like that.
Oh my God.
There's a reason you're wearing them chains. Because you're supposed to make a sandwich when you're asked. So, see, this is a good example of the shit I'm not supposed to say, probably, I would imagine. Now that I think about it. At the 9/11 joke at the gym, you'd think I'd learn, but no. I just had sandwich Kunta Kinte fucking up my sandwich. The good news is, though, I'm old, so I'm the only one who knows what that means. No one else has any idea what that reference is.
Nope.
So they make my sandwich, and then I get the sides. And she's like, "What sides do you want?" And I got a pan Asian noodle salad, and I got a spinach pesto salad. Got that on the side. And she's like, "Would you like a pickle?" And I'm like, "What do you think?" No, I did not do that. Of course, I said yes, thank you. So I got a pickle, and she continues making my sandwich. And back there with me, like I said, there's a ton of people. There's old people, and there's people out. There's business people getting their lunches, and it's just this melange of people. And there's a guy, and he's got his kid with him. And he's a little boy, and he's cute. He might be 3, a little precocious kid. And they're holding their deli number. And as I'm getting my sandwich made, they get called, and they're getting stuff. Well, the kid is a little rambunctious kid. So they had samples, but the kid couldn't reach him, so he just kept jumping, trying to get them, like jump, 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 like crisscross. He was going to, because pumpkin bread will make you jump, jump. Free pumpkin bread will make you jump, jump. And the Daddy Mac will also make you jump, jump. But the Daddy Mac was not there, only pumpkin bread. So,
Really?
yeah, the Daddy Mac was not there. He was certainly not for a free sample.
Oh.
Um, the DA double DYMAC. There ain't another brother bad as me because I went down. All right, never mind. Sucker from the ghetto. Word about the little brother kicking rhymes that you never ever heard. I'm going to do the whole song. All right, so the kid is jumping to get the pumpkin bread, and the dad keeps handing him the pumpkin bread. Okay, and I'm watching the little kid. He's jumping, and the dad will just absentmindedly reach up and grab him a little shot glass of the pumpkin bread and hand it to him, and then the little kid will look at it and he'll dump it into his hand and he puts it in his pocket. And then he starts jumping up and jumping up. And the dad, again, he's just trying to talk to the cashier, and he's got a kid, a 3-year-old he's trying to deal with. He just reaches and grabs another little shot glass of fucking pumpkin bread. The kid takes it and he dumps it in his hand and he puts it in his pocket. And then he starts jumping up again. He's essentially hoarding pumpkin bread for the winter is what he's doing. And I have to admit, I love this technique because part of me thinks the dad is in on it. Like, I thought this was the cheapest knockoff of Paper Moon I'd ever seen in my life. Where it's just like a dad and his kid grifting a deli out of free pumpkin bread. Like, eventually they're going to get an entire loaf. I figured the dad's got to be in on it, right? But the kid keeps jumping up and down, and the dad keeps getting little shot glasses of pumpkin bread and handing them to him. And the kid dumps them in his hand and puts it in his little tiny pocket. And you know, kid clothes, like those little corduroy little pants. And I'm like, there can't be any room in there for all that pumpkin bread. He just kept stuffing it in there, man. Just fucking letting it go. And I was kind of amused by that, and I'm laughing, and I wanted to say something to dad, like, you know, he's just fucking putting it in his pocket. But I was like, again, like I said, the father's got to be in on it. I don't want to get involved in their grift. Because again, the next thing you know, they reel me in, and then I buy a nursery or something like that. You know what I mean? I buy some property in the desert from this kid, and they put on their fedoras, they tip them, and they disappear into the fucking night. So I want nothing to do with it. I watch them do that, and they steal the bread, and they keep doing it, and the guy's buying whatever the fuck he's buying. And I get my sandwich, she wraps it all up, and she hands it to me. And the avocado is only on one side of the bread. But the thing at Gelson's is they put it in a little house. Like, they put it in a little clamshell house, but a see-through clamshell house so you can see your food. But then they wrap it with this fucking Spanish Inquisition level of plastic wrap. I mean, it is just, you ever see those fetish videos where they wrap people up and they just put like a vacuum hose in there and they give them air that they can breathe and they're all just wrapped up in this fucking plastic? That's what it was. That's what they did to my fucking sandwich without the vacuum hose. So there was no oxygen getting into my sandwich whatsoever. But there was clearly no avocado on the one side of the bread. And look, you know me. I'm trying to change myself as a person. But I wanted extra avocado. But so I didn't know what to do. I wanted to complain about it. But Kate had already moved on. She's calling other numbers. They're into the 30s at this fucking point. I was 12. So, folks, I don't know if this makes me a big man or a pussy, but I accepted it. I accepted my sandwich. Because I don't charge you for extra avocado. I would be happy to pay for extra avocado, but she didn't charge me for it. So she didn't charge me for it, so I guess I should just fucking... And it's weird because I'm not that guy. I'm usually the guy who I want what I fucking want. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. Because the same thing happened to me at the goddamn airport yesterday. I landed in Chicago. Oh, fuck that. Actually, I didn't land in Chicago. You know what? Let's go. All right, fuck. I'll tell you this goddamn story. Yesterday, I'm leaving Jill yesterday, which is fucking, I don't want to do. I don't ever want to leave her. I just want to bring her. She should be in California, right? Everybody? You agree with that, right? Doesn't Jill belong in California? You see photos of her. Her hair is lightening. She's got thin blood because she was cold at her house, and I'll tell you all about that later. But Jesus Christ, come home. All right, so fine. But I had to get on a fucking plane yesterday. So she drops me off at the airport, and then we take 18 minutes to say goodbye because neither one of us wants to fucking say goodbye ever. And I'm flying from Milwaukee to Chicago, and this is not even a joke. It's a 15-minute flight. But I would much rather connect through Chicago than through Dallas, because if I fly to Dallas, that's a 2-hour flight. And then it's a 2.5-hour flight from Dallas to fucking LA. And there's always a problem in Dallas. Always. Jill and I always have problems in fucking Dallas. I don't know why, we just do. I'm going to say if you look at the people who have had terrible times in Dallas, I'm going to say Jill is second. She's second on the list. I'm third. John F. Kennedy a close first. He's definitely number one. I think is of the people who've had the worst times in Dallas. I'm going to say John F. Kennedy is ahead of Jill and I, but just barely. So so I'm there last night. I show up at the airport in Milwaukee, and Jill drives away, and I walk in and I go to the American Airlines kiosk because I don't know if you folks know this about me. I'm an American Airlines gold level flyer. So I go and I slide in my card, and my name comes up, and it's like check in, and I just again I'm in 2D. I'm just gonna fly for 15 minutes. I'm gonna get off, and then I'm gonna get into Chicago. And here's the thing: I didn't eat yesterday with Jill. We had chocolate, I think, at some point, but I didn't have dinner or lunch or breakfast. I had a couple of yogurts at her place, but I knew I was going to eat at the airport because I was going to go to Rick Bayless's Frontera Grill and get myself a sandwich for the flight to Los Angeles. So I was excited for that. But the thing is, my layover was only an hour, and they make the food to order, so that's like 15 minutes, and then I got to hustle from one terminal to the other, and who cares? But I was planning to do it, and I was excited. So I walk into the Milwaukee airport and I slide in my American Airlines gold level flyer identification card into the kiosk. My name comes up. I start pushing buttons and looking at the seats, seeing where I'm at, how many people are on the plane. And the guy from the American Airlines counter, he's about 20 feet away. He says, "You going to Chicago?" I have no idea how he knew this about me. I wasn't even wearing my Bears jacket. But he said, "You going to Chicago?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "And where are you going after that?" I said, "Los Angeles." He said, "What time's your connection?" I said, 8:30. He goes, "You're never going to make it." I went, "Pardon me?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Come over here." So I had to walk over to the counter, and he goes, "Yeah, you're not going to make it on because we're so delayed right now. We will never get you to Chicago in time to make that connection." I said, "So what do I do?" And he goes, "Well, we're putting people on a bus." I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, we're putting people on a bus, and then it'll get you, it's about a 90-minute trip, but it'll get you there in time to make your connection." I said, "It's 6 o'clock at night. I mean, we're going to have to get on the freeway with traffic." And he goes, "No, it's fine. We've done this a million times." And I go, "Well, that's not good at all either. You've done this a million times. That doesn't inspire confidence in your airline. I'm a gold level flyer, sir." And I will tell you this, when he brought me over, he's like, "What's your name?" And I said, "Mike Schmidt." I go, "Do you need my Advantage gold level flyer number?" Like I thought that was going to get me something, like my own bus or something, or someone was just going to carry me on their back. I don't know what the fuck I thought I was going to get. But he's like, "No, that won't be necessary." And he says, "Yeah, we need to get you on a bus because that'll get you down there so you can make your connection." He goes, "It'll be probably 90 minutes." And it was already, what was it, 6? It was 6 o'clock. I go, "So you're telling me you'll get me there by 7:30?" And he goes, "Well, the bus has to make some stops to pick other people up. And this is a bus I've talked about. I've been on this bus before because there's one bus that goes from O'Hare to Milwaukee and then Milwaukee to O'Hare. It's the same one. It's Coach USA." And I said, "Well, I've taken this bus before. I actually know the route. It's going to stop at the Brat stop and all." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, then you're fine." And I go, "Well, I'm not fine. We're going to get in traffic." And he goes, "Well, I'm sorry." He goes, "I can give you a voucher to get on the bus." And he goes, It's just the way it works." And I almost, because he goes, "Yeah, the bus leaves in 10 minutes, so you're going to have to get out there," which is fine, except I don't have any time to ask any questions. Like, what's the difference between the airfare and the bus ticket? And are you going to refund that to me? And by the way, I was supposed to take a fucking plane. Am I going to get the miles for my fucking frequent flyer mile account? Or does that just not count because you guys are fucking late and I have to take a goddamn bus? It just drives me crazy. Just the attitude of, "Yeah, man, you're good. We're just going to put you on a bus." What the fuck does that mean? You're an airline, motherfucker. You're not Greyhound. I didn't book a bus. I fucking booked this flight. I was furious, but I mean, what the fuck am I going to do about it? He goes, "You got 10 minutes to catch the bus."
Say, "Where's my hotel room? And am I going out first thing in the morning in first class?"
Well, yes, but then guess who fucking takes the brunt of that? You do, because then I can't come here in time to do the fucking show. I mean, it's just that was the only thing. Because again, I was off work today, so I called Jill. I said, "You want to come back and get me?" Because I was like, "You can take me to Chicago." I mean, so I wouldn't have to take a fucking bus. But then that blows because then she's got to drive back from Chicago alone, which she doesn't want to do. But I mean, I would have done it just to spend 90 more minutes with her. But then again, I'm also that fucking, like, I just don't want her to do that. I don't want to make her the drive alone. To make that drive alone. Jesus Christ, I don't think that sentence came out properly at all. So we're on the phone talking, and she's like, "What do you want me to do?" And what I should have said to the guy was, "Can you get me out on the earliest flight in the morning? I'm just going to stay here in Milwaukee," and just gone home with her. She could have picked me up. I would have spent one more night in fucking Milwaukee, or in Wisconsin. But it was 10 minutes and it was so bang bang. Again, it's that thing where I'm trying to change, folks. I'm trying not to be a psychopath about things all the goddamn time. So whether it's avocado on my fucking sandwich or a bus ticket, I guess I'm just going to accept my lot in life and be a fucking schmuck. I'm a schmo. That's who I am. I'm fucking, you know who I am? I'm Leota at the end of fucking Goodfellas. I just live in some tract house in fucking Nebraska and I get noodles and ketchup. Fuck that. That's who I am. I got to settle for it. That's who I am. Get the fuck out of here, Tommy. Uh, so I'm swearing on the phone, and Jill calms me down, and I get there, and I say, all right, honey, I'm going to get on the bus here, and I let her go, and I get in line, and there's a guy, and he's like, yeah, I hope we make it. I got an 8:10 connection. I go, I have an 8:30 connection. I go, this is fucked. I go, you know, we're getting on the fucking freeway. It's going to be at least 90 minutes, maybe more, and we're all going to have to fucking sprint to the goddamn airport. And I turn around, and there's a family with an 11-year-old girl, like waiting in line with me to get on the plane. And I went, whoa, language, hi, sorry. I mean, I felt like such a, but I don't think, I guess, but I was pissed. But I mean, and that was, you know, it's funny, that was the tirade that I should have given to the fucking dude at the airport. So, and oh, by the way, the upshot of this entire thing, I get on the plane, I get on the bus, and it was like an 80-minute ride. I was there with plenty of time. Get into O'Hare Airport, and I go to the Frontera Grill, and you know, again, I just want to order a sandwich and get on the plane. And I had to go from terminal to terminal, and I will tell you this also, as I get on the plane, I realized I got to go through TSA again. Or not again, just initially, because I didn't get to go through TSA in Milwaukee. Now, TSA in Milwaukee is a guard, like asleep, a cartoon walrus in a chair, and you just sneak past him, and if you get past him, you're on the plane. That's just the way it works. In Chicago, of course, it's a battalion of fucking National Guardsmen with German Shepherds. So I'm like, well, that's going to fucking increase the amount of time that I got to wait. So sure enough, I had to go through long security, even though I had priority access, even though I am a gold level flyer. I still had to go through the regular security. Well, not the regular security. I had to go through priority access security. There were more people there because there was a backup, whatever the fuck. I don't know. But there was time, and then I get to the terminals and put on shoes and everything. So I get to Frontera Grill, and I wait in line, and there's two people ahead of me, and they order their food, and the registers break. And I'm standing there, and I'm like, that didn't really fucking happen. So now the girl behind the register completely panics because she has to basically add up the numbers for what you order. She can't. They won't just close. And she basically says, "Well, she's telling the manager, she says, you need to come up here, Marcos. You need to come up here, Marcos." And he comes up and she's like, "I don't know what to do. All the buzzers are going off, and I can't get the numbers." And he's like, "Well, just add the numbers up and then run their credit cards with the machine." She goes, "What machine?" And he hands her that machine. She looks at it like he handed her a gun. Like she has no fucking clue what it is or what it does. So he tells her. So he has to give her a tutorial on how to put the card in the little slot and put the thing because she's. And this.
They're manually sliding it with the paper.
They had to. Yeah, because they couldn't use the register. And also, all of the buzzers that they give you to tell you your food is done are going off. Zzz, 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 and she's freaking out at that. And she's freaking out. It's like it was something out of Paranormal Activity because all the buzzers are going off. The register doesn't work. And this is a fancy joint. You know what I mean? They make your food to order, so it's like 10 to 15 minutes. So she, with the first two people in front of me, she's running the machine and she's getting taught by Marcos and she's losing her mind. And she goes from being efficient, not friendly or good or cool, but being efficient to just a fucking basket case. She melts down in two customers, and I see it happen. So she helps them, and she's like, "All right, we're gonna have to yell out your number. Please remember your number. It's on your receipt. And if you need me to write it down, I'll go ahead and circle it for you." And everybody's like, "We're good. We got it." But she's falling apart. And then in the back, you know, the Mexicans are no fucking help. They're making tortilla chips and just laughing. You know what I mean? Because she is losing her fucking mind. So I get to the counter, and I'm standing there. And she doesn't acknowledge me at all. And she starts pressing buttons on the register and nothing's coming up. And the buzzers are going off. So she starts taking the buzzers out and she kind of like looks at them and shakes them. And then she drops them on the counter with this really loud noise. They're like, bzz, bzz. And when she drops them on the counter, then they're going bzz, bzz, and they're hopping around. It looked like it looked like a chase scene in a porno movie and somebody knocked over a crate of vibrators because they're just fucking... Yeah, they're rolling around on the countertop, and she just keeps driving them. She's like, I don't, and she's not acknowledging me. She doesn't say anything to me at all. And she's like, Marcos, I need you to come up here. The buzzers, they won't stop, and I don't know what to do with the numbers. And he's just like, You need to focus. Like he even says that to her. You need to just stop. It's okay. The food is still being made. Just take the orders, and that's all you need to do. And she's still not talking to me. And Marcos also does not fucking acknowledge me. So I'm standing at the fucking counter, and I already dealt with the bus and all the bullshit in TSA, and I'm pissed. I'm fucking pissed. Um, and her name was Lauren, who's on her name tag, and she was unfortunate looking. So she was made uglier by the fact that she didn't want to do her job, and she was basically checking out and treating everybody terribly, and like almost pulling her hair out of her head. Like, I mean, dude, calm down. I understand you are barely qualified to run a cash register, but the least of your skills should be civility, especially because you're representing Rick Bayless in a very fine restaurant. I mean, this was clearly a McDonald's level employee at a Rick Bayless establishment. She had no business fucking being there. So she's freaking out and losing it. And I'm standing there, and I'm not joking. I was there a good at the counter by myself, holding my credit card in my hand. 3 minutes while she's freaking out and he's trying to coach her through it, and neither of them looked at me once to say anything to me. And the line is just getting longer behind me. And I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm looking. I'm waiting. And I old me again. I would have gone, hey, is somebody gonna fucking talk to me here? Because it was just that thing where you're just being ignored and everything's going to hell, and you don't want to. Marcos needed to grab her by the scruff of the fucking neck and go, calm down, calm down. So I'm standing there, I'm waiting. Marcos fixes one of the registers, and she's like, well, can I use it? He's like, well, hold on, we got to wait for it to kind of reboot up because I guess there was a fucking computer involved. And she's like, well, I don't know how to do that. He goes, I'm doing it. Relax. And so I'm standing there, and she goes, what do you want, sir? She doesn't look at me. She goes, what do you want, sir? And I go, hi. And she goes, what do you want? And, I had just dealt with American Airlines, who I am a gold level flyer with, who I've probably spent $4,000 with this year, dealing with me like I was a fucking stray piece of luggage and shoving me on a goddamn bus to ride through the night when I had already purchased a fucking plane ticket to try to get me here to make my fucking connection. And I didn't quite feel like being treated like fucking garbage at the goddamn fancy restaurant I was about to hand $15 for a fucking short rib sandwich. So there's a line of people behind me, and she says, what do you want? And I said, I want you to acknowledge that I exist. And she kind of froze because I don't know what, I think she wanted me to say, I want a sandwich. But she kind of looked, and she looked up at me, and she just looked me right in the face, and I go, hi. And Marcos, the manager, immediately just goes, oh, sir, I'm sorry, can I help you? And I said, somebody better help me. I've been standing here for 5 minutes, and nobody said a word. He goes, well, I'm really sorry. We've got the buzzers are happening. We've got problems with the computer. I go, I understand that. If you would have said that 5 minutes ago, it would have made this a lot easier. He's like, well, I understand that, sir, and we want to help you. And I go, I know you want to help me. You want to help me now. You didn't want to help me 5 minutes ago when I've been standing here, and look at the line of people. And you can see now they're getting pissed at me, the people, because when I said it, people laughed, like, because they understood what was going on. Because I basically stood there. It was like a Laurel and Hardy sketch where I just stood there with my credit card in my hand while they fucking fumbled around with computers and bullshit and buzzers. But now I guess I'm kind of, because I wasn't going to let go. I wasn't going to let go of it. I had been treated badly all night. From the second, I didn't want to leave my girlfriend, but then when I had to leave her, everything had just fucking gone downhill. And Lauren started to cry. Because the buzzers were going off and the computer wasn't working, and the nasty man was being mean to her. And she started to cry, and she walked off and took her little hat off and went into the back. And Marco said, sir, I'm very sorry about this. And I go, I understand. I go, I eat here every time I come through Chicago. In fact, I connect into Chicago just so I can fucking eat here. But I've been standing here, and she is a nightmare. He goes, I understand. I'm very sorry. What can I help you with? And I ordered my food, and he comped me. And I thank God, he comped me, and I walked away, and I waited. And then I grabbed my sandwich and I walked off. And as I'm walking, I realized I forgot to order something. God damn it, I forgot to order something. Because they have aguas frescas and the one was cucumber lime. And so now I got to go wait in line and fucking order a drink. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm going to go see Marcos again. And as I'm waiting in line, I'm like moving up the line. Lauren comes back out to work the register. And I'm like, fuck, dude, you can't go order a drink now from Lauren. And then I was like, well, fuck this. Of course I can. Yes, I can. I won't be mean or anything. I'll just order my drink and see what happens. And, so they helped. She's helping people. She's helping people. She's helping people. And then I got to the counter and she looks up at me and she goes, and turns around and walks away. And goes into the back and Marcos comes back out. And he goes, sir, I go, I forgot to get an aguas frescas. I need a cucumber lime aguas frescas. And he goes, oh, okay, no problem. And he just pours it for me and he hands it to me and I walk off. They count my meal. And then I get to my plane and I'm the last guy on the plane. Like, because I was waiting all that time and I had made the connection. Through TSA and everything else, they were doing the final boarding call. There's nobody else there. I walk up and I'm like, dude, we boarded already? Because it was only 10 after 8. The flight was leaving at 8:30. But I'm so used to them. It said 8:40. Actually, it was a 10-minute delay. But everybody was on the fucking plane. I walk in. Sure enough, I was the last guy. So getting the fucking shaft on the avocado today, I just clammed up because I didn't want Kate to go crying and running into the back of the fucking kitchen. So I'm there. I get my sandwich. I see there's no avocado on it. I'm just like, whatever. And the dad and his kid finish grifting all of the pumpkin bread and they walk off. So I go looking around. I'm figuring I'm going to get some chips. And I'm like, you don't need any chips. I'm going to get Ritz crackers for Lily. So I already had the box and I walk over to find a place. And there's all the registers to check out. There's like 8 registers open and they all have like 2 people in them. And you have to find the one it's that fucking game where you got to figure out who's going to get checked out quick and who's a good checker and who's not. So I go all the way to the end and there's 2 people there. And I happen to get in line behind the man and his son, the grifters. Annette Bening and John Cusack are in front of me. And he's holding his son now. He's got him up in the air, got him on his shoulder. And the kid is looking back at me, and I smile at him because I smile at kids. I'm a nice guy. I was raised Catholic. The woman in front of them is writing a check. So in the most antiquated I just want to go, why waste the ink? I will pay for your food. Except for the fact that I have no money. So she's writing a check, and this guy is just trying to get his deli stuff. He puts it up on the counter, and he's got the kid on his shoulder. And I'm standing behind them, and the kid is looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I smile, like I said, at him, and the kid kind of smiles. And I saw it coming. Like, I saw that it was going to happen, sort of, but I didn't think it was really going to happen. But the father is turned away from me, and he has the kid on his shoulder facing me. And all I have is a sandwich in the little ceramic house or the plastic house, and then I've got the Ritz crackers, and I'm looking up at the kid, and I smile, and he smiles at me, and then he goes, and he coughs right in my face.
Oh.
He doesn't cover his mouth. And I mean, he spit on me. There's spit on my shirt, and he coughed. He let loose like a little kid cough right in my face. And I like kind of blanched. I'm like, oh. And I actually said that. I was like, oh. And it was spit on me. I mean, it was like on my shirt and fucking everything. And the kid smiles because I was like, ugh. And I made a face. And his dad doesn't fucking turn around at all. Doesn't even acknowledge it. Doesn't say, are you okay? Or cover your mouth. Because it was a loud ass fucking cough. It was like a gunshot out of a lung. I mean, it was like that. It was like fucking loud and wet and nasty. Right in my fucking face. So I might not have had extra avocado, but I certainly had some extra green to bring along for my lunch. And so I'm just standing there, and I'm furious, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, that's what little kids do. He's 3 and he doesn't know any better, but he's grinning like he's smiling I know he's laughing at the face I made because it went right in my face and my eyes. And the father doesn't turn around to acknowledge me or say he's sorry or tell the boy to cover his mouth or anything. Now look. I'm already upset about my lack of avocado. But just to be treated so rudely by a child who's stealing pumpkin bread for a living. Now, like, I can't take it out on the kid. I think we all know that, right? I can't take it out on the kid. I want to. But I think the dad has to be the target of my ire, correct? So, I get as close as I possibly can behind him, and I to the point where I don't even know how he didn't feel me in his space because I'm right there, and kid's looking at me, smiling. Father doesn't acknowledge me, doesn't turn around. I move up as close as I possibly can, and I'm about 6'2". This guy was probably about 5'10", and so I tilt my head down and I just go, and I fake sneeze all over his fucking neck. And I just exhale. It's just air, and I blow. I mean, his so much that his fucking hair moved. Like it was like because I was right behind him. I didn't fuck around, man. I got right up close, and I was like, and I made sure he could hear me because I was like, It wasn't a sneeze for real, but I blasted the shit out of him. I mean, like I said, his hair moved it hit, like his hair flapped into the kid's face, and he's holding and his kid just starts laughing, of course, because it looked fucking ridiculous. And the guy wheels on me and turns around with his kid, and I just smirked in his face. I didn't say sorry. I didn't say anything. Because again, I think I still had his kid's spit drifting off in my face, and I just smirked. Smiled in his face, and he's looking at me like, because I mean, I know he wants to do something, but he's also got a 3-year-old on his fucking shoulder, so there's nothing he can do. And he just kind of makes this face like, ugh. And I was like, mm-hmm. And he goes, that was rude. I said, yeah, it was. And he just stared at me because again, I'm smiling, and because I'm waiting for him to do something. And then he just turns back around because there's nothing he can do. What's he going to fight me with his kid? He checks out and pays for his groceries. He kept rubbing his head and his hair and looking back at me, and I'm just smiling.
Do you think he even got it?
I don't know. Fuck your Ebola kid.
Holy crap.
Kid coughed right in my fucking face. I don't know what kind of germs this kid has. I might be dead next week. There might not be a show. I'm a businessman. I got stuff to take care of. I'm holding a sandwich. Thank God you know what? And thank God my sandwich had that much fucking plastic wrap all over it, because otherwise it's going to have little kid germs all over it. It's bad enough I do. Because remember the first thing I did when I walked in your house? What did I do? I went to the bathroom and I washed my goddamn face because I had fucking Ebola all over it. So if there's no show next week, I'm in a fucking plastic tube with the rubella all over my face. I'm sure they've got me in some like an iron lung or a fucking MRA tent. MRI tent? There's no MRI tent. There's an oxygen tent.
I like an MRI.
They have those over at Burning Man.
Yes, they do.
Get that guy to the MRI tent, stat. Because, that's where the cast of Emergency goes and performs now. They do live emergency. Oh, I don't even want to talk about Emergency. It's a fucking 70s show. Fuck. I'm back in town. Flying. I didn't want to leave. I did want to leave. I just wanted to bring Jill here. We went to, I had just a great week. I took her to the movies. We went and saw Nightcrawler. You know what Nightcrawler is?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It is?
It is a really, really good movie. As good as the movie is, Jake Gyllenhaal is that much better. He is fantastic in it. I just love the fact that Jill went to a movie with me because she didn't go to movies. She hasn't seen anything. So, on Friday night, again, we were old people. We got on the couch and we just fucking ordered up some on-demand movies, and I made her watch 2 movies she'd never seen before. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to order the heavier movie first, and then we'll watch the comedy second. So we watched Fargo.
It's fucking funny.
Fargo's an awesome movie.
Yes, very heavy.
Well, 5 people get shot in the face.
Well.
There's blood everywhere. A guy gets thrown in a wood chipper.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is my deal here. This is my deal. Yes, Sam Grossman, he'll tell you, that's my favorite line in the entire movie. The little kid is like, "What are we gonna do about mom?" And he's like, "Oh, we just gotta wait, Scotty. We're gonna get him the money, and it's gonna be okay." And he goes, "What are they doing to mom?" And he goes, "Don't you think we should call the cops?" And fucking William H Macy just goes, "No, no, this is our deal here. This is my deal. You even ask Sam Grossman, he'll tell you why the fuck does the kid care what his grandpa's accountant has to say about it? It's my favorite line in the entire movie. Yeah, Sam Grossman, he'll tell you that, along with when Buscemi comes in after getting shot in the face and he goes, "You should see the other guy." It's fucking
Yeah,
great.
it's beautiful.
What a great line. So because she wasn't ready for it, I was explaining it to her and stuff, and I forgot to tell her that guys get shot in the head, because I also don't know Jill's level. Like if she's ready to see guys get shot in the face, I have no idea if she likes violence because she does like horror movies, but I know if she was ready for it. But when there was a festival where like a bunch of people got shot, and finally she just goes, "Oh, I didn't know it was going to be this," and I go, "Well, it's not like this all the way through," but it also made me go, "Jesus Christ, if I show her Reservoir Dogs, we're going to have a problem. I'm going to really have to fucking couch that." But so we watched Fargo, and then after that, we watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which she had never seen. And she loves John Candy, and she loves John Hughes, and she's like, "I can't believe I've never seen this movie." And I go, "I can't either, quite frankly. I don't know what the hell you've done with your life." But it was worth doing it, because worth watching it, because now, when we're in the car there in Wisconsin, I go, "Hey, what do you think the temperature is out there?" And there's a beat, and then she goes, "1." It was awesome. So we watched those movies. We went and saw Nightcrawler. And the reason, I went out there to see her, of course, but we also had an event to attend. And Sunday night, we wound up going to Sunday Night Football with the Chicago Bears, my Chicago Bears, our Chicago Bears, taking on her Green Bay Packers. Now, we went earlier this year. Now, first of all, we went last year to both games. I talked about them on here. We went to the first game in Lambeau Field last year when the Bears broke Aaron Rodgers' collarbone and won the game in Lambeau. And I hugged like a million Bear fans on the way out. And she was a good sport, and she wore all my Bears clothes. And we took photos with her out at the statues. But then we went to the game in December last year that ended a little differently. It ended with Aaron Rodgers hitting Randall Cobb on 4th and fucking 8 for a 50-yard touchdown pass. Oh my God, 4th and 8. And they won the division. I can't even believe I'm saying those words. But it happened. We actually went to the game earlier this year as well. Me and Jill. We went to the game in Chicago, and it was really gorgeous weather outside. And the Bears still had some hope. They were 2-1. I think the Packers were 2-1, and everybody was down on the Packers because they had not, or the Packers might have been 1-2. They had looked a little rough in their first few games, and everybody was mouthing off. And their quarterback was like, "Hey, everybody, RELAX, relax." And we went to the game in Chicago, and Jill wore her Packer clothes, and she wore little Packer socks. And she wore her Packer earrings, and she wore her Packer eyeshadow, and her Packer sunglasses, and oh my Christ. I don't know. They sell a lot of garbage up there with the Green Bay logo on it, but Jill buys like she finds the good stuff of it. Like, 'cause they have cozies and all that, but she finds, like I said, she's got a ring, a green and gold football ring. It's insane, and she owns all of it. And she's got like 5 different jerseys. She wore her Cobb jersey to fucking Soldier Field this year, and she's just like, "Cobb!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I remember that." Because we actually watched the replay of the game because we taped it. So we saw it live, and then we got home and we watched it on the DVR like a month later. I had it at my house when I got home, and then I showed it to her, and it was and you just hear Joe Buck just go, "Cobb!" And then he catches the touchdown pass. And so now to this day, she only types his name in caps, like when she sends it to me, and it's awful. So we went to the game in Chicago, and it was pretty great. I wore my Bear jersey, and she wore her Packer stuff. And the Bears this year, they started out a little rough. They lost their season opener, but then they won the game too. A game they should not have won. And but I held out hope. I was like, I came into the season with high hopes for the Chicago Bears, and it soon became apparent that this is not the team that I thought they were. I don't know what the fuck is happening. Now I got to warn you, this is going to be sports heavy. But as the weeks went by, I would talk to Jill about it because I watched the Panthers game at her house, and they led the Panthers like 21 7 with a minute to go in the first half, and they missed a field goal, and then they lost the fucking game. They let the Panthers come back, and the Panthers are 3-6 now. The Panthers are fucking terrible, but the Bears let them stormtroop back on them and beat them, and it was just depressing to watch. But even more depressing if your team is losing when you watch them lose when they come back after the game, and they all said the same thing. This one's on us, and kind of, it's really something that shouldn't have happened. We watched it, but we'll go and watch the film. We'll come out strong next week. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. Can somebody get mad? Can somebody be upset that you guys just got fucking tattooed by an inferior team? You choked a fucking 21-7 lead away on the goddamn road. How the fuck are you not upset about that? That's when I started to get pissed. Look, you lose your home opener against the Bills. That's fucked. You should come out and go, man, we shouldn't have lost this fucking game. But then they stole one from the Niners, so I'm like, all right, I can deal with that. That's fine. And then they beat the Jets, and made the Jets look stupid, and it was fine, and I was excited about it. I'm like, all right, well, but the Jets suck. That's the problem. See, they're beating these teams, and I'm like, yay, they beat the Jets, but the Jets are fucking 1-8. The Jets are fucking terrible, so there's nothing to be happy about with the Bears beating the goddamn Jets. So they play the Packers in Chicago, and she and I are there, and I'm talking a bit to her about it. And the best part about her, I will tell you this about Jill. She knows football. It's the weirdest thing. Like, because some women are like, yay, I like green, so I like the Packers. Dude. Like I said, she's got 6 different jerseys from 6 different players. Her favorite player on the team is AJ Hawk, a fucking linebacker, who's not even a star. He's just kind of a fucking mucker. You know what I mean? He's okay. He's decent. He does well in their defense, but he's not the star of the defense. They got guys like Clay Matthews and Julius Peppers, but her favorite guy is AJ Hawk. And, granted, that could be the fact that she wants to sleep with him. But, I mean, other than that, that's fine. I don't know if that's true, by the way. I don't know. All I know is she met him at a fucking car dealership, and I went out of my mind because I'm a weirdo. All right, so who cares? So she loves AJ Hawk to the point where I joked that the AJ stands for Jill. Like, I told her that. And she also loves like BJ Raji, who's like a fucking lineman for no reason. And but that's who she likes. And apparently she likes initials. I think that's mainly the key. She likes guys who have initials. That's the whole deal, instead of names. So we go to the game in Chicago, and she's wearing her full-on Packer socks and Packer sneakers, like these green and gold sneakers, and she's just fucking outfitted. And I'm wearing, and we brought her son. Her son came with us, and he's a Bears fan. So she was basically taunting us. That's what I mean by she's a real fan. She knows the sport, so she talks shit to you about it. And I love her, so I pretend that I'm happy when the Packers win. She won't do that with the Bears. Like, when the Bears win, she's just like, oh, it sucked. And I'm like, no, you're supposed to be happy because, yay, we're in love. And she's just like, nah, but you're a dang closer to us in the division. And I'm like, oh my God. I pretend to like the Packers for you. I do it all the time. And she's just like, yeah, well, so what? That's because the Packers are great. And I'm like, oh, you're that fan. Don't be that fan. So we went to the game in Chicago, and I knew the Bears were going to have to fucking score and score and score. And the Bears came out, and their opening drive was like an 80-yard drive. I think it was 12 plays. It took 7 minutes off the clock. It was a thing of beauty. It was gorgeous. And I took a picture of us, and I put it right on Facebook, and I go, 12-play, 80-yard drive in 7 minutes. One of us is no longer smiling because she was smiling in the photo. By the time I had taken the photo and the shitty Wi-Fi at Soldier Field had posted it to Facebook, the Packers had scored a touchdown in 4 plays. Do you know why? Because the Chicago Bears are fucking awful. They're awful. They have no defense, none. So the thing is, the only thing they can do is just keep scoring and trying to keep up. And then they get the ball back and they scored, and then the Packers scored, and then the Bears had to get a field goal, and then the Packers scored another touchdown, and then the Packers scored another touchdown, and the Bears got stopped on the 1, and then another touchdown. I was Indiana Jones, and there was a giant green and gold boulder just chasing me down a fucking hill out of the cave. It was awful to watch. And we were surrounded by Chicago fans, and she was the only Packer fan. And then they were teasing her. They kept calling her Cobb and stuff. And she was just like, yeah. And she just pointed her jersey and stand up. And she was all happy and excited. And it wasn't malicious. I will tell you that we've been very lucky. All 3 of those games, last year's both games and this year's first game in Chicago, on the way into the park, people were like, Packers suck. But it wasn't anything mean. They weren't yelling right at somebody. They were like, Packers suck. Yeah, woohoo, Bears, and yay. But, the game was at noon, so it was gorgeous outside. So you couldn't be upset or angry about anything. It was 77 degrees outside. The sun was hot. It was beautiful. It was a gorgeous day to be outside. And we were just there to watch some football and have some fun. And then the Packers beat the fucking hell out of the Bears. It was depressing to watch. The Packers didn't punt. The Packers did not punt in the game, folks. I don't know if you watch football. That happens sometimes. You stop a team, they have to punt. Nope, didn't stop until they didn't have to punt. The only possession they didn't score on was when the Bears blocked a field goal with like a minute left. Cobb caught 2 touchdown passes, and every time he did, Jill would stand up and just point at the name on her jersey. Shunk. Cobb! God damn it. And the Bears, like I said last year, there's this guy named Chris Conte on defense. And he became the symbol of everything that's wrong with the Bears for me. So I'd be like, fucking Conte, because he's terrible. That was last year. Now this year, Conte hasn't gotten any better. But he's still better than the other guys that they have now. They have a guy named Ryan Mundy. And that's even a better name to get for a guy who sucks. It's like fucking Conti, no, fucking Mundy. I like that, fucking Mundy, because that's the deal. Fucking Mundy. He's awful. They lost this guy named Charles Tillman. You know why though? Everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe they lost Peanut. Well, Peanut is 38 years old or whatever the fuck. He might, you know what? Actually, Peanut is 104 years old. That's how old he is. Joe Louis was 105 years old when he fought Rocky Marciano. Well, Peanut Tillman is 105 years old when he tears his triceps or biceps or whatever the fuck he tore and he's out. So now we got to play. There's a rookie named Kyle Fuller who's been playing well, but he's overmatched because every week he's got to play the best fucking receiver. It's terrible to watch. And again, very sports heavy. I apologize. Rewind it and listen to the kid sneezing in my fucking face again. So the game in Soldier Field, the Bears stay close early, and I'm excited about it, but then they just get fucking steamrolled. Cobb catches 2 touchdowns. Jordy Nelson, I think, caught 2 touchdowns. I think Jill caught 2 touchdowns. I think. I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure she caught 2 touchdown passes in that game because they just assassinated the Bears. And it was that thing where fans were just leaving because it was just, look, nobody wants to lose, but they certainly don't want to lose to the Packers, and they don't want to get drummed, and they just got drummed. And it had that feeling in the air where you're like, I think I need to worry about this team, maybe, if I'm a fan, because they just didn't. And it's funny. They had over 500 yards in offense. They had 235 yards on the ground. Dude, do you know how hard that is to do and lose by 21 points? You're pretending like you know. But if you have 235 yards rushing as a team, then that means you should have the ball like 45 minutes of a 60-minute game. But they were just running in garbage time and ripping off these gashing runs. And they were doing well with the run, but then they stopped and they're trying to throw. And they ruined it at halftime because Jay Cutler hit Martellus Bennett to the 1 and he got stopped. Dude, it was terrible. And I mean, Jill, of course, loved every second. And me and her son are just like, oh God. Good Lord. But we stayed. We stayed to the very end. Because that's what we do. When you're a fan, you stay to the end. You watch the game happen. And we had paid for the tickets, so we're going to watch the entire game. And also the fact that Jill wants to stay there and watch the entire game just in case the Packers continue to stomp the shit out of the Bears and she can laugh more. And I understand that. I get that. Because I pretend to like the Packers sometimes for her, but I don't. But we stayed and watched. And we were alone in our section finally, right near the end. But it was really fun. I mean, it was really great to go. Because again, I don't take it that seriously. I mean, it's football and it's fun, and she and I will make bets and we'll go back and forth and we'll tease. And I talk a lot of Yang to her and she talks Yang to me. The only problem is she's backing up all the Yang and I'm not. But then I tried to explain to her, after that game, she's like, oh man, we destroyed you guys. And that's just how it works because we're always going to destroy you guys. And I was like, yeah, we beat you last year. I mean, we were 1-1 last year, and your win was on a 50-yard fluke fucking touchdown pass because our white safety got spun around because he's dumb. So don't pretend like you're routing us. We beat you in Lambeau. And she's like, yeah, but you had to cheap shot Rodgers to do it. I go, we didn't cheap shot anybody. We broke his collarbone. It happens in football. She's like, yeah, but that's a cheap win. You shouldn't want to win like that. I go, we didn't have Cutler. We had Josh McCown. Josh McCown was our quarterback, and we beat you in Lambeau. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, don't be that fan. Honestly, you got to give some credit, a tiny bit. We beat you there. And she goes, well, yeah, you did. And I'm like, yeah. And I was hugging all the Bears fans. She goes, yes, you were. And I go, yes, I was. I go, but then you beat us in Chicago. And she goes, yeah, and that win counts for 2. And I go, what do you mean? And she goes, well, we won the division title, and you had to go home, and you didn't make the playoffs. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. That counts for 2. God damn it. I can't argue with that. And then this year, the first game, and I talked a lot of Yang. Both her son and I talked Yang on the way to the game. And then we got there, and then we had that opening drive, and then it just deteriorated. So then on the ride home, she's like, I'll take care of you guys. You can go ahead and cry if you want. I'm like, yeah, that's fun. It's just, I mean, because there's nothing you can say. There's nothing to do. The only thing I can do is hope that the next time we play them, it's going to be different. As the season progressed, the Bears, like I said, they started to lose games and lose them poorly. Uh, they wound up they beat the Falcons. They put together a full performance against the Falcons, offense and defense. They looked good, and then they got destroyed by the Miami Dolphins at home. Dude, they were 0-3 at home. 0-3 at home. You can't lose home games in the fucking National Football League. So they got drilled by the Dolphins. So essentially, they lost to the Bills and they shouldn't have. But then they beat the Niners and they shouldn't have. So they were 1-1. That's the way they should have been. Then they lost to the Panthers, even though they should have won that game. They beat the Jets and they should have beat, and they should not have beaten the fucking Dolphins at all. So they were 3-5, or actually, I should say 3-4 going into the Patriots game. And I didn't have a lot of hope for the Patriot game. I was actually texting with Jill, and I told her that the final score was going to be 48-24, I think. And the final score was 51-24. We allowed the Patriots to score 50 points. And I think they had 35 of them in the first half. I mean, it was just a mess. And then people are talking about benching Cutler, and they're talking about how the Bears suck, and the coach has to get fired. And it's just, dude, when your team starts to do poorly, then, I mean, everybody comes out of the fucking woodwork, and they all have a fucking theory on what's wrong. And the worst part is Chicago fans are, and I mean, all fans, when they're winning, are great, and when they're losing, they suck. I can't even say Chicago fans. It's just all fans. But unfortunately, because they're losing, that's why I have to see is all the fucking Chicago fans coming out, and they're like, you know what? I would do better at quarterback than this guy. Oh, would you, fat beer gut? Would you? Would you go ahead and do well at quarterback instead of Cutler? I would love to see you get out there and get your clavicle fucking fractured, not even by a hit, just by you trying to throw a 10-yard out pass. And then your fucking clavicle would snap in fucking half because you never get any calcium because you sit around and drink beer all the fucking time instead of milk. I hate it. I hate Bears fans. They're all fucking dumb. They are. I mean, really, I hate to say that because I'm a Bears fan, but it's like they're all like, hey, bring back the coach. Bring back Mike Ditka. Oh, no. Jill, it was so funny at the game. We were talking about the Bears in 1985, and I was like, yeah, you know, in 1985. And she just looks at me and she goes, but that was so long ago. And I'm like, yeah, I know it is. I go, but the Bears fans won't let it go. They keep talking about it. And she's like, but that was so long ago, honey. And I'm like, yeah, it was. I know. You don't have to tell me that. She goes, yeah, so long. I'm like, enough. I get it. So long ago. I got it. I was 18. So, and I mean, look, it's mitigated by the fact that the 1985 Bears were the greatest team in the history of the NFL. That's mitigating, a mitigating factor. So it came time to go to this game in Lambeau. And the Bears, after getting destroyed by the Patriots, had a bye week. And the Packers also had their bye week. Now, the Packers have turned their season around. They lost a couple of weeks ago to the Saints. So they're 5-3, and the Bears were 3-5 coming into this game. So the Bears had to win to have any hope of winning the division. Now, usually when a team goes on its bye week, that's really good because they get to rest their guys, and they get to have all sorts of pep talks, and they get to make their adjustments, and they get to fix their offense and their defense, and they get to repair the holes from the beginning of the year. So again, you're 3-5. That's a rough start to the year. But if you go 5-3 the rest of the way, now you're 8-8, and that still sucks. What I mean to say is if you go if you go like 6-2, it's manageable because they had a lot of home games coming up. So I'm excited. I want to go to Lambeau and I want to win. That's the key. They just have to win. Because I'll be honest with you, if they win in Lambeau and they lose the rest of the games, that's almost okay with me. I've won my Super Bowl because I can look at my girlfriend and go, ah ha ha ha, 2-2. Even if the Packers win the Super Bowl, I can say we beat you at Lambeau 2 years in a row. Take that. You know, I laid off the trash talk a little bit because the Bears were getting destroyed. But then when I got to her house this past week, she started talking about the game and how she couldn't wait and how we were going to get killed. And so I had to start firing back because I can't just sit there and get walked all over. So I just kept saying, oh, honey, you're going to be so sad on the way home. I mean, just the same thing we'd done the previous 3 games. And we had fun at all 3 games. I think I didn't mention that this year we were walking and she had her Packer clothes on and I had my Bears clothes on. And in Chicago, everybody's just like, ah, that's neat. You know what I mean? It's just because, again, rival fans. So, so I was excited to go to Lambeau. And she's like, did you bring your Bears jersey? I said, I did not. She goes, really? You're not wearing your jersey? I said, well, there's a reason why. And she goes, why? And I go, well, I don't want to wear my Brian Urlacher jersey. And she said, why? And I said, well, first of all, they've lost 3 of the games I've worn them here. So I can't wear it. I'm a jinx. I said, but second of all, Brian Urlacher talked a bunch of shit about the Bears last week. So I think he's kind of a traitor, so I'm not going to wear his jersey to the game. She's like, that's pretty weird. Do you want to get a new jersey? And I said, not yet. Let's see what happens on Sunday. I said, because right now there's nobody on the Bears where I could wear their jersey and make it work. Because the jerseys I would want a Forte jersey, but everybody gets a Forte jersey. So I would want a Kyle Fuller jersey, but I'm a fat guy. I can't wear number 23. Or I would want an Alshon Jeffrey jersey, and he's number 17, and that looks even stupider on a fat guy. I got to wear like a lineman or a linebacker number, and we don't have any fucking good linemen or linebackers. Certainly nobody that I would want to wear their fucking thing. I mean, I'm not going to wear an Ego Ferguson jersey yet. He's got to prove something in this league, for fuck's sake. I would have thought about a Kyle Long jersey last year, but now he's been a fucking tool bag this year. And then he called out the fans for booing the Bears. I'm like, dude, win a game and nobody will boo. That's what drives me nuts. The whole entitlement of the players who were just like, well, this is on us. We got to go back to the drawing board. When they got destroyed by the Patriots after the game, they were just like, yeah, that was a rough one, but that's what happens sometimes. No, that's not what happens ever. That does not happen sometimes. It happens to you sometimes. It happened last year against the Eagles when you could have clinched the fucking division and the Packer game would have meant fucking nothing, but instead you let the fucking Eagles hang half 100 on you on Sunday Night fucking Football. That can't happen. It should never fucking happen. And now the Patriots hang 50 more on you? That's fucking insane. Because the defense is awful. It is awful. They're not smart enough. They don't know what they're fucking doing. It's terrible to watch. It's depressing. But I was still excited to go to Lambeau because I thought we could win that game. So Jill and I got ready to go to Green Bay. And she was trying to figure out what jersey she was going to wear. She wanted to wear a home jersey, but she didn't want to wear a certain player. And then she finally decided on her Charles Woodson jersey. Huh?
She wanted to wear a home jersey.
Well, they're in a home. It's a home game. She wore her away jersey to Chicago. And now...
to sell 2 sets of jerseys for every player, if not more.
And she's got them. So she wears her home jersey to the game. She wears her Charles Woodson jersey. And I did not, like I said, I didn't wear my Urlacher, but I had my Bears jacket. And she goes, we'll get you a Bears hat when we get up there. Because I foolishly, I traveled and I brought 2 like windbreaker type jackets and 2 hoodies, but I did not bring a hat or gloves. Now, last year when we saw the Chicago game, it was fucking 25 degrees below zero and it was freezing and we couldn't move. This year it was going to be kind of misty, rainy, snowy and about 35, which didn't sound that bad. So I told her, I'm like, well, I don't think I need gloves and a hat. She's like, you are insane. We're getting you a hat and gloves. So we went out and we bought gloves. Then she goes, we'll get you a Bears hat when we get to Green Bay. I said, fine. And we hopped in the car and she wanted to go early because traffic coming up from Chicago and, south going north toward Green Bay would always get really heavy. Plus the game was at 7:30. It was a night game. It was Sunday Night Football, which is exciting to a small fucking hick town like Green Bay. And so here's what they do in Green Bay, folks. Jill told me this, and she actually talked to some people in Green Bay who witnessed it. They start tailgating at about 9 a.m. for a 7:30 football game. When I say tailgate, it means like they make a roast and a bunch of stuff on a grill. But even more important, they might have one grill, but these guys have 5 coolers filled with libations. And that is a lot of oat soda going around a fucking hick town. So I drove up with Jill. And I was excited to go to the game. And I had my Bears jersey. And we get there, or my Bears jacket. And we walk into the... and I should tell you this, all week while I was there, I would wear my Bears jacket out. And we went to a fancy grocery store. And this guy looks at me and he goes, I think you're out of place here, sir. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, that jacket doesn't exactly look like it belongs here. And I'm like, come on, come around to the Bears side. And he's like, well, we won that division last year. And Jill's like, yeah, we did win that division last year. And I'm like, all right, you two, it's going to change this weekend. The whole season's turning around. And they're just making fun of me and laughing. And so then I pulled out my phone and I showed him a picture of Jill in Bears clothes. Because I keep it to show to everybody. Whenever anybody up there gave me a hassle about my jacket, I'd go, hold on a second, I have to take a phone call. And I'd pull out my phone with my Chicago Bears case and I'd put it in their face. Hello? I'm an idiot. Because you know what, man? I'm a fan. I root for my team. So all week, guys, and then we were in that same grocery store and I'm walking in the produce section and a fancy lady with like diamond earrings looks at me and goes, "Go Bears." And I said, "Ha ha, exactly." And there was another guy with a bear hat. And I go, see, these are the rich people in the rich people's market. They all understand that the Bears are the team to follow. All the Packer fans have climbed into the bottom of a pony keg and they fucking support the green and gold blindly because they're drunk out of their fucking skulls. So all week I'm kind of getting teased, but it's fun. We're having fun. People are teasing me and it's a good time. So we head up to Green Bay and we talked to a couple of our friends up there, and she goes, people have been tailgating since like 9 a.m. When we're driving, we can see people parked under tents with grills going. And we got there at like 1, and they're drinking and they're cooking out. So we go and spend some time with a couple of our friends. We go to their house. We watch the early games. And we just hang out and talk football. It's her friends Dina and John, and they're super cool. I mean, they're really great people. And we just hang out there until about 6. And then it's time. We're ready to go to the game. So we walk outside, and I should tell you, I also stopped at a jersey store to get my Bears hat. We walked in, and it's all green and gold. Like everything, the entire store is green and gold. And then in the corner, there's just like a spider web and a Bears hat. Like literally, there's nothing. And I actually went in there and I made her take a picture of me hiding behind hoodies. And I'm like, doo-doo-doo, trying to blend in. But we were excited for the game because it's just fun. It's really fun. It's kind of this fun rivalry, and the teams have fun kind of getting at each other. And we've had a great time at the other 3 games. So we get to Lambeau. We get in the car and we drive down, and we're looking to park. And everybody lets you park in their yards. It's like $20 to a car to let you. I mean, dude, they make bank. These people make bank to let you park on their lawn. And we pulled up really close to the stadium. There was one spot left in this guy's yard, and we pulled in. And I put on layers. I had a hoodie and a jacket and a Bears jacket and my gloves and my fucking Bears hat. And we just started to walk into the stadium. And as we're getting closer to the stadium, people start yelling from houses, "Bears suck!" And there's a lot of Bear fans there too. Okay. And we're walking, and I'm walking with Jill, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so fun. Let's get in there and get a picture of Lambeau Field. And as we walk over, there's the thing that says Lambeau Field. So I'm like, honey, I'm going to stop and get a photo. And I go to take the photo, and a guy walks by and he goes, "Bears still suck." And I take the picture. And that's a thing up there. The Bears still suck. That's their thing. They chant it. They say it. Because it's fun. So I catch up to Jill. And as we get in line to go through the metal detectors and stuff, we're sensing something very different about this game than we've had to deal with in the other games. There's like a malevolence in the air. And everybody is drunk. I mean, loaded drunk. The guy in front of us drops his ticket, bends over to pick it up, and almost falls. Picks it up off the ground, and his friends laugh at him, and then he drops it a second time.
Oh, that is not good.
And he's wobbling, and he goes to pick it up, and his friends are just cracking up, and then he drops it a third time. And he has no regard for the fact that Jill and I are behind him, so when he bends over and just is all elbows and ass trying to pick it up, he's just kind of swinging and swaying, and I kind of get in front of Jill, because if this guy bumps her or hits her, he's going to be a fucking green and gold grease spot, because I'm not going to fucking stop. So I kind of get in front of her, and I don't have a lot of tolerance for drunks anyway. I mean, from years of bouncing and being raised by one, it's just not fun. I don't get it. I don't get the drinking. And Jill grew up in Wisconsin, so she's been a bartender for a long time when she was up there, through her youth. And then she would hang out in bars with her friends, and she is done with it. Like, she is completely over it. And she wants nothing to do with it. So both of us are we're on alert because everybody is just loaded and yelling and shoving. And So this guy picks up his fucking ticket for the third time and he comes forward and his friend laughs so much that he falls backwards into the bicycle rack that then starts to fall and they have to catch him in the rack and the security's like, whoa, hey there, you gotta watch yourself there, keep your balance. And I look at Jill and she looks at me and I go, this is probably a bad start.
Probably.
So we walk in and I said there's a lot of Bear fans. There were last year too, and there's Packer fans and but this time around, it's like nobody's smiling and nobody's teasing and nobody's having a good time. They're all saying, hey, Bears suck. Bears suck. Fuck, why are you here? Bears suck. Like they're being really aggressive about it to other people. I mean, and I can hear it going on, and so can Jill. And we have to take an escalator up and take an escalator up to another side, and we had to go to this concourse. And we go walking through, and Jill's like, hey, I'm going to use the restroom. And I said, okay, great. I said, I'll be right here when you get out. And we're holding hands, and as we're holding hands, a guy walks up, and he walks right up to her, and he goes, you could do so much better. You could do so much better. And he walks off.
Holy fuck.
And, I look at her, and she looks at me, and she goes, I'm sorry. And I go, that's fine. I go, people are drinking. That's cool. I will calm down, and we're fine. And so she goes into the restroom. So I'm there by myself with my Bears jacket on, and I take my phone out because I was going to take a selfie. Behind me, there was a big picture of a Green Bay crowd. So I wanted to take a selfie like I was actually in the crowd, and I was going to tweet, nobody notices me. I hope nobody notices me because I had an orange jacket on. And so I put my phone out to take a selfie, and I'm holding it at arm's length. And when we came into the park, it was Flag Night because it was Veterans Day. So they are giving away these camouflage Packer flags. And they're on their long plastic fucking things, and people are supposed to wave them and have fun. So I'm kind of by the wall, and I'm waiting for Jill, and I take my phone out, and I stretch it out to take a selfie, and I kind of smile, and a guy walks by, and he takes his Packer flag, and he hits my phone on purpose. He takes his flag, and it's a plastic thing, and and he smacks my phone in my hand. And he goes, Bears suck. And his friends start laughing, and they keep walking. And my phone is a $600 fucking. You're not hitting. If you'd have hit me in the head, it would have been a cheaper fucking blow. And I just. Every instinct in my body is to jump on him and to fucking destroy him. But in my head, I'm like, you're with your girlfriend, and you're that's it. So if I fight this dude, I'm going to jail, and she's got to bail me out. The game hasn't even fucking started yet. I'm not going to be here for the Bears win. I mean, I'm so fucking, I just so conflicted. But as he walked, he never stopped, but he literally walked by and he hit my phone with the flag and my hand. And then he said, Bears suck. And he kept walking. So, look, I was there to have a good time and watch a football game, but I won't lie. The second that guy hit me with the fucking flag and said, Bears suck, I wanted to go home. Because I recognize when situations are going to be out of control. I know. On the way in, people are yelling, Bears suck. And on the way into the other games, people were teasing. They were joking. They were laughing. They were kind of having fun. But those days, and we even went to a Sunday or Monday night football game. But the thing is, people work during the day on Monday. And then they come to the game, so they can't tailgate from 9 a.m. They're not drinking the entire fucking day. Well, this is a Sunday night football game, so they are fucking ganked. She comes out of the restroom. She's like, you okay, honey? And I go, hey, a guy just hit me. And she's like, what? And I go, he hit me with the flag, like he hit my phone. And she's like, honey, I'm sorry. And I go, you didn't, I know. I go, but I'm just letting you know, this is different tonight. She goes, yeah. She goes, I can tell. And I go, it's really bad. She goes, I know. So she goes, we'll be careful. And I go, I know, I'll be careful. I go, but I can't speak to what other people do. I go, but I will do everything I can to avoid something. And she goes, well, I know, it's okay, honey. Are you okay? And I go, I'm fine. I go, let's find our seats. And we had really good seats. So we went walking down. And it had rained. So in Lambeau Field, it's one of the oldest stadiums in the NFL. They don't have seats. They have bleacher benches. There's no backs to them. It's literally metal benches that you sit on. They're numbered. Your seat is numbered, but still, you're sitting on a bench. There's no fucking armrest, anything. So we find our seats, and we're right down by where Bob Costas was doing the pregame, and it was just, we were super close. We were 20 rows from the field. And our seats have always been great. Like, we had a great, in Chicago, we were fucking, like, fifth row from the field behind the Packer sideline. This time we're behind the Bears sideline. And so we get to our seats, and we're excited now because they're starting to bring the flags out, and she and I are starting to settle down a little bit, and we're by some older fans in front of us and alongside us, and we just settle in for a good game. And then we just hear these guys chanting, "The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck." And they come walking down the bleachers, and they take the 4 seats directly behind us. And I look at her, and she kind of rolls her eyes. And each of them is carrying 2 beers.
Oof.
And they're the big fucking like 24-ounce beers or 18-ounce beers that they sell at the fucking stadium. So they're drinking the beers, and they start talking. And it's 3 Packer fans and a Bear fan. One of them is a Bear fan. But the problem is the Bear fan is the most obnoxious one of all of them. He keeps saying stuff and laughing at his own jokes. And his laugh is the most grating, obnoxious, fucking nails on a chalkboard sound. It's this, I can't, you know what, I can't even imitate it. Jill can do it. She did it perfectly. But it sounds like, you know Burt Reynolds' laugh from Smokey and the Bandit? Imagine if he did that for like 30 seconds at a clip. Like, it wasn't just, I mean, like, fucking, he just kept doing it. And after everything he said. So they get behind us, and we have these seats that we borrowed from Dina that are like seat cushions, and they have seat backs. And they just keep bumping into them and almost knocking them off the bench. Like, they don't even care. They don't say, "Excuse me." They don't say anything. They have their beers in their hands, and then this one dude, he's eating peanuts. Now, look, the game hasn't even fucking started. Jill and I are standing there, and she looks at me, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm okay." And they start talking about how the Bears suck, and they're teasing their friend. And this dude starts eating peanuts, and he just starts throwing the shells all over our seats. And I keep turning around, and I keep brushing them off, and then he keeps throwing more on there. Because I'm a Bears fan, you see. And it's funny to them to make a Bears fan clean peanut shells off of his fucking seat or whatever. I don't know. But they kept looking at me and laughing and doing it. And then there's the guy directly behind me, has this foghorn voice, and he's yelling basically right in my ear, "Bears suck! Fucking Packers! And they start talking shit about the Bears and Chicago, and they're looking right at me while they do it. I can see them doing it. Because I look at Jill, and Jill would turn around and look at me with a blank face and just go, "Honey, this is terrible." And I go, "Mm-hmm." And they start yelling about how the Bears suck and Chicago sucks and fucking people should go back to Chicago, and why the fuck, if Chicago was such a good city, why would they leave, and why would you go anywhere else? And they're looking right at me while they're saying it. And we are standing up, and I said to Jill, I go, "Do you want to sit down?" And she goes, "No." She goes, "Because I'm afraid one of them is going to pour beer in my hair." And she's right, because I'll tell you what, if one of them had poured beer in her hair, we're not having this conversation. I'm being brought up on murder charges, because, I mean, I would not have stopped. And I will tell you this, too. They've only been there 15 minutes, and they're throwing peanut shells all over our stuff, and they're talking shit. And again, we're in really good seats. But in my head, I've already had the fight. I know in what order they get hit and who goes down first. Because I know who's close to me, and I can take the old man and just throw him down the bleachers and then get in and just start hitting his friends in the face over and over. And when the old man gets up, then I can elbow him in the face and take him down and just start fucking smashing his head into the fucking metal bleachers until his blood is all over the place, and then jump on the other guys. Like, I mean, I have the fight in my brain. So, game starts. And the Bears, they take the kick out of the end. Dude, the Bears are awful. They're awful. Their defense is terrible. Their special teams are pathetic. The offense doesn't know what to do. It's just a mess. A mess. And I understand that as a fan, and so I'm not gonna cry. It's a football game. Who the fuck cares? I don't own the team. It's not my livelihood. Yay, I root if they win, and if they lose, I go, oh, guess what? I still gotta pay my fucking rent. But the Bears come out and they're terrible from the jump. And these dudes just start yelling basically at me. They're looking right at me, but I will not engage them. I will not look at them because I know the second that I do, it's going to turn into a running thing. And Jill is I'm with Jill. I'm not with any, if I'm with other dudes, honestly, we already have this out. I mean, this already fucking happens, but I'm not. So they're yelling at other Bear fans. They're yelling at their Bear fan friend, and they're just being cunts. Terrible. And at one point, one of them starts to fall, and he grabs his two friends, and they start to fall down toward us. Like they're going to fall down the bleachers. They're so wobbly and fucked up. And I put my hand out, and I covered Jill with my arm, and I stopped them from falling. And they lean back, and Jill just looks at me. She goes, Jesus Christ. And then they're looking at me, and the guy goes, oh, did you see that look on his face? Ooh, he's tough, huh? Oh, that guy's from Chicago. He'll kick your fucking ass. And he goes, yeah, I'll let him try it. I'm fucking right here. And he goes, yeah, well, he'll kick your fucking ass. Fuck, I guess nobody falls down in Chicago. And they're saying this behind me. I can hear them. So at this point, I think the Packers are up 105-0. I mean, it's such a fucking beatdown. It's depressing. And every time the Packers score, the guy's right in my ear yelling, yeah, fuck you, Chicago Packers. And he's yelling it. And I finally take out my phone when it was 14-0. And they were so drunk and stupid they didn't even notice it. And I turned the lens around and I just filmed them. The guy behind me goes, Jordy, no. And I got everything I wanted. I got the fucking hideous laugh. I got the guy with the foghorn voice. I got them yelling and talking and snickering and bickering back and forth. And I'm filming them and I'm going around and Jill is just laughing. She's fucking laughing her ass off. And I just look into the camera and I go, I have bail money. I just didn't think I was going to have to use it. And then I turned the camera off. And Jill, I go to post it on Facebook, and the Wi-Fi was so bad it wasn't posting. By the time, let's put it this way, I filmed it when it was like 14-0. By the time it posted, it was 28-0. I mean, it took that long, and that's how quick the fucking Packers were beating the Bears down. It was so depressing. And it was, I will tell you what, I was happy for Jill because every time they'd score, I'd kiss her and I'd lift her in the air and I'd hold her up, and she's like, yay, she was all excited. And I'd put her down and she'd look at me and she goes, honey, this is awful. I go, yeah, it's terrible. You guys are killing us. She goes, no, I hate it here. She goes, I want to hit this guy with the laugh. Now look, I've seen Kat fight Jill in action. I saw her at the Brad Paisley concert shove a kid into a fence. So I can see she's actually starting to get mad, like she's going to engage these guys, like she might say something. And I take my gloves off because I could probably land more effective punches with my gloves off in my mind. I could do more damage and hurt more dudes if I hit them with fucking bare hands. And so she keeps looking at me and she just goes, honey, I hate this. I go, I know. She goes, I don't know why they're doing this. I go, because they're fucking terrible. They're just terrible people. I go, and she goes, I don't even want to be here right now. And I go, enjoy the game. She goes, I am, and this is great that we're winning. She goes, but I can't even concentrate on enjoying it because it's not fun. I go, well, it's not fun also because the Bears are not putting up a fight. They're just getting killed. It wasn't even like a game. It wasn't competitive or fun or interesting. It was 28-0. And then it was 35-0. And then I'm saying, like, I'm laughing at how badly the Bears are getting destroyed. So I would actually say stuff whenever the Packers make it 35, they made it 35-0. And I go, all right, if we make this 35-7 before the half, this is manageable. It's funny, right?
Yes.
They thought I was serious.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So I would say that to Jill, and they go, yeah, fucking whatever you got to hope for, fucking Bears fan. You're getting killed. You're getting fucking killed. And I would hear them say it. They're talking right to me. And I go, seriously, honestly, honey, if we can just cut it to 28 by the half. And Jill's laughing. And the guy goes, cut it to 28. You're not going to fucking score a point. It's going to be fucking 42-0 at the fucking half. It's going to be 49-0 at the half. And I'm just like, Jill, honestly, if we can just get a touchdown on the board, this whole game's going to turn around. It's going to be amazing. And They're still drinking. They're dropping peanuts. And at one point, they all leave. And it's quiet. Fans are cheering. Birds are singing. It's fucking 9 at night and the sun comes out. I'm like, thank God, yes. It wasn't nighttime there. The sun went away because it hated these 4 fucking guys.
Oh my
So
god.
they're gone for like, I don't know, 20 minutes. And Jill keeps saying, she goes, I'm enjoying this. And I go, good. And she goes, but those guys are awful. She goes, like, I want to get in there and yell at them. I want to say something. And I'm like, well, don't. I go, because they're not exactly the kind of guys who are going to go, well, you're a lady. I'm not going to say anything back. And I go, and if they say anything, I'm going to have to be a nonstop punching tornado. It's going to be fucking depressing. I go, seriously, if I have to engage these guys, you're going to have to bail me out. She's like, honey, it's just miserable. And I go, I know, it is. She goes, and I'm freezing. And I go, I know, it's cold. And she goes, well, I don't know why I'm freezing. And I go, because you have California blood now. You should come home. Come back to California. I said, you know, you go to sporting events in California, we don't have any guys like this. Everybody's really nice to everybody.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, you might want to talk to Brian Stowe about that.
I should not be laughing at that.
Probably not. Brian Stowe would laugh at it if he had the mechanical ability in his face to make a laugh. So she looks at me, and so then they come back. And they're like, this is fucking terrible. We just went to the bar. Like, they went to the bar in the middle of, and they come back with beers, and they drank beers up there, and they came back. And they're just yelling. It's still the first half, you know. And at one point, one of them leans over, and he goes, hey, finish this, to his friend. And his friend goes, I can't. I already had 5, and I'm driving tonight. That was Wisconsin in a conversation. Hey, finish this beer. I can't. I already had 5 and I'm driving tonight. And that was another thing, too, is they were all very Wisconsin. Yo, yeah, hey there, the Packers are winning the game and the Bears, they suck. Like those dudes. And Jill, I keep telling her that people talk like that, and I tease her about it. And she's just like, people do not. And but then she'll be like, people do not. Like, she has it a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
and it comes out. And when she does it, I just kind of smirk at her, and she's like, I don't. And I'm like, okay. But even she looks at me and she goes, honey, she goes, they're drunk and they're yelling. She goes, and then they have that Wisconsin thing that you talked about that I never noticed, but now all I hear is that. And I'm like, yeah, welcome to my world, because that's all I fucking hear from these people. And she goes, yeah, but she goes, they sound like everybody you make fun of. And I go, yes, they do. That's exactly what they sound like. And they're drunk, so it's worse. So, it's 35-0, and the Packers make it 42-0 in the first half. She even said, I want to see Aaron Rodgers set records tonight before the game. And he did. He's the Packers quarterback. He threw 6 touchdowns in the first half. He set a record for most consecutive touchdown passes at home without an interception, an NFL record. So she actually saw Aaron Rodgers set records that night, which was great. Not great for me or the Bears, but I was happy for Jill. And I wanted her to just enjoy it because, again, good for her. She loves her team, and that's fun. So they make it 42-0, and these guys just start screaming and jawing, and Bears suck, and fuck you, and I'm not even looking at them. And the Bears get the ball, and they take a knee. And I should say this: the Bears had a guy named Julius Peppers, and the Packers signed him in the offseason. And near the end of the first half, he tackles Jay Cutler and strips the ball and recovers the fumble, and then he walks over to the Bears bench and he stands with his arms outstretched and just drops the ball in front of their bench and walks back to the Packer sideline. Right in front of us, because that's where we were sitting. And everybody's like, Peppers, yeah. Oh, fucking Bears suck. He's finally got out of there, so he's good. And I'm like, he was good in Chicago, you dicks. Don't be that guy. And then they made a sign, like a handwritten sign that said, Cutler, relax. And they're like, and they kept laughing about it. They laughed at everything they said. They laughed at every joke they made. They were terrible. They were fucking, it was a 4-headed Wisconsin monster. It was just fucking awful. So the Bears take a knee. It's 42-0. And they're jawing and they're yelling, and then they fucking go to get more beers. And Jill looks at me and she's just like, honey, I'm sorry. This is terrible. And I go, that's fine. I go, people are dicks. She goes, no. She goes, and the score. And I go, I know. And she looks at me and she goes, can we leave?
Aww.
And I said, and if you remember last year at the cold Chicago game, she had talked about leaving, but she And so I said, all right, if you want to leave, we can leave. And then we were walking out, and I go, well, don't tell me about your badass Wisconsin, I'm never cold thing again. And she's like, fuck you, we're staying. And we stayed and we saw an amazing game. But it turned out that she was leaving because she thought I wanted to leave, and I was leaving because I thought she wanted to leave. And so we don't do that anymore. We stop thinking for one another. And it's like, say what you mean. So when she looked at me, she said, honey, can we leave? I looked at her and I said, are you serious? She goes, yeah. I said, but you, I mean, you know, you guys are killing us. I mean, it's fun. And she goes, it's not fun. She goes, this is terrible. She goes, and I'm glad we're winning. She goes, but I don't even care, and I don't want to be here, and I just want to leave with you, and I don't want anyone to be mean to us anymore. I just want to go. She goes, I'm embarrassed. I said, well, if you're serious, I would really like to leave. And she goes, yeah, I am. I go, okay, let's go. So I took her hand. We walked up the stairs. And it's halftime, so everybody's out on the concourse, and they're eating and smoking and doing all sorts of dumb shit. We go walking out, and I've got her by the hand. And I should tell you, you know, I think I told you, she's really quick, and she snakes through a crowd really fast. But I'm leading her this time because there's a big crowd, and everybody's in parkas. And I'm just like, stay behind me, and we'll get out of here. So we're walking, and we come out of the concourse, and we have to get from where we were at 1:15 up to 1:38. So we've got to walk 15 to 17 to 19 to 21, so it's that long. So I'm walking and I'm zigzagging through people, and I'm walking, and guys are going, Bears suck! Ha ha ha! Fuck, you lose! Ah, you loser! And they're yelling it at Bear fans and at me. And I'm just walking out. I just want to get the fuck out of there, and I want to get out in one piece, and I want Jill to be happy. And she's behind me, and I'm walking, and I'm holding her hand, and a guy walks right up to me and elbows me in the chest and goes, Bears suck! And stands in front of me. And I keep walking. And I'm holding her hand, and I'm walking. I mean, this guy, he elbowed me right in the chest, came right up to me and hit me and said, Bears suck, right in my face. And I kept walking. Because I'm trying not to be a psychopath, folks. Do you know how hard it was to not be a psychopath that night? And I'm walking with Jill, and she goes, did he just say what I... And I go, yeah, he did. Let's go. She goes, did he hit you? And I go, yeah, he hit me. Let's go. And we're walking out. And then we come to a bog down where, you know, I can't move quickly. And there's a guy directly in front of me. He's a kid. He's probably about 6'3", 6'4". And he turns around, he looks at me, and he goes, hey, sorry about your sorry team. And I thought he was being friendly, you know, like teasing, because that's teasing. That's not being mean, really. But he goes, sorry about your sorry team. And I go, it's rough, right? And he goes, bam! And he elbows me in the chest. And he goes, welcome to Lambeau, Bears suck. And this is a kid. This is like a 22-year-old kid who I could have peeled his fucking scalp off with one swipe. I mean, it was like, and he hits me. And so I just shift gears, and I go to the left around the bog down, and Jill's just like, he was being nice, right? And I go, no, he wasn't. He hit me too. And she goes, is that why you lurched back? And I go, yeah, he hit me in the chest. I go, Jill, this is going to be ugly in the second half. We need to get out of here. And she's like, we're going. And I go, I know, but it's about to get really bad. And I walked, and we zigged and we zagged. And people catcalling, Bears still suck. They're chanting it. The Bears still suck. The Bears still... I mean, they're at halftime. They're yelling it at people. And I walked outside. It was like escaping prison. It was like escaping a prison. And we finally got out of the gates. And we walked outside. And I'm holding her hand, and she goes, honey, this is miserable. I said, it is. It's terrible. I go, let's just get in the car. She goes, I'm cold. She goes, I just want to go eat somewhere and watch the rest of the game. I said, let's go. We walked out, and there's Bear fans kind of walking. And there's one who's really drunk. And he looks at me, and he goes, why do we suck? I said, we do suck, huh? And he goes, oh my God, we suck so bad. And I go, it's terrible. And he goes, I don't know why this is happening. I go, neither do I. And I'm walking, and he's standing still, and he goes, I need a hug. I go, yeah? And he goes, why do we suck? And I go, honey, hold on. And I walked back, and I just hugged this guy. He's a young kid. And I just fucking grabbed him, and I was like, he's like, and literally, he's like in my ear, not yelling, and he just goes, why is this happening? And I go, I don't know. And I'm holding him, tenderly cradling him as he almost sobs on my shoulder. And then I let him go, and he goes, thank you. And I go, you're welcome. And I turn around, and Jill's just looking at me. She's like, oh, all right, honey, let's get out of here. And I'm like, yeah, let's. And we walked over, and we finally found the car, and we just backed up, and we got out. And we split, got in the car, and we went to the restaurant. There was a restaurant right up, by the time we got there, the Bears had already like had a punt blocked. I mean, it was just fucking, they were so pathetic to watch. So depressing and so awful. And we sat down, and Jill looked at me and she just goes, honey, that was really terrible. And I go, yeah. And she goes, I don't think I ever want to go again. I said, well, you said you never wanted to miss another Bears-Packers game. She goes, I think I'm good. I said, well, we'll see how you feel about it next year. She's like, well, next year I'm going to live in California, so I think I won't mind sitting on our chair and watching it on TV. And I smiled. I mean, I couldn't, even if I didn't want to, I had to. Because my body just went, yeah, that's actually the greatest thing you ever heard. You have to smile now. It was almost like a movie. It was like, all right, and cue the smiling. Smiling happened. And I leaned over and I kissed her. And she said, you happy? And I said, I'm happy. She said, good. And then she elbowed me in the chest and said, the Bears still suck. You guys can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40year-old-boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40year-old-boy. Our friend David Mex Hernandez does all of the artwork for this show. You can be his friend at Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. But if you'd like to hire him to do some artwork for you, or some music for you, or to make some soup for you, call him up and he will do it. Soup, and I don't even know if you can call him. Literally, that's all wrong. He will not make soup. You cannot call him. Perhaps he will make a soup. He'll make a very a hearty chicken noodle or a festive gazpacho. He is of Hispanic descent. But you can contact him at artbydmh.com, artbydmh.com. He has years of storyboarding experience. He does amazing artwork. He's done it for this show. He's done it for others. Let him do it for you. Contact him at artbydmh.com, and he'll be happy to quote you a price and tell you what you need and whether he can do it and all of that neat stuff. But he does amazing work. And people will testify to that on Facebook and stuff. They've actually put up, he did a Drexel Spivey painting that was purchased by a listener for somebody, and it was huge. So by all means, contact him at artbydmh.com and check out all of the cool stuff. And if you go to artbydmh.com, you can see all examples of his work and things that he's done. You know what he's done for the show, but he's done so much more. So check him out, give him a call, and let him do some artwork for you. It is the Christmas season. Perhaps you'd like a painting of someone or a painting of someone's, and he can get involved in doing that. Why not? Our friend Lily Von Stupp is the producer of this show. And I'll tell you what, I wish she was with me in Lambeau Field with Jill. The three of us would have cleaned house on the 4 valedictorians from Jagoff University. You better fucking believe that. Because she's a roughhouser. She doesn't mess around, our friend Lily. And you can actually be her friend at Facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp. But if you'd like to go ahead and get her at Twitter, you can follow her at Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp, Twitter.com/HollywoodBQFest, and Twitter.com/Monday Night Teas, or MNTs. MNTs. But if you'd like to write her a personal note.
Oh, please do.
And,
I don't even want to know what you're going to, just don't say anything. Just don't write me this week.
Look, if you want to write her a personal note.
No!
And you want to find out if it's cold in here, if there's a draft of some sort, you can write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy, and later, Kankakee Somersault Zipper Flu, the Gibberish Podcast. Communication will never be the same.
Denver Dungarees, Northwest Bubblewing.
Wingnut Shuttle Hat.
Tripwire Assassin, Let's Evil Goggle Pringle.
California Zim Zam.
Arsenic Floodwater Leavening Death Snake.
Beef eater thinking.
Oh, Regular Bandicoot.
Lower Asia.
Is it a hidden message? Is it code? You'll need to listen to find out. Kankakee Somersault Zipper Flu, the Gibberish Podcast, on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
Rambunctious.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the Three Clubs on Vine at Santa Monica. It is a show put on by, hosted by sometimes, and always promoted by. How do I put this? It is created by, well, first of all, it's an amazing show. I'll tell you that. It is the best burlesque show in the history of Los Angeles. And it's been running now for, I think, 41 years. If I remember correctly, 41 years here in Southern California. And it is put on my good friend, the producer of this show, as well as the producer of that show. Her name is Lily Von Stupp. Hi, Lily. How are you?
Hello, Michael. I am good.
Glad to hear it. Things are fine. Things are good in the world of Monday Night Teas.
For the most part, yeah.
That's good. How was last week's show?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
What the? How are you not there?
Eddie actually started his week run at the Magic Castle in the late parlor, and so I took Monday off to go be with him.
Funny Eddie was doing his Funny Eddie stuff.
He was being a magician.
He was intriguing everybody with his prestidigitations.
Yes.
And probably throwing a squirrel or two at people, if I remember correctly.
Probably.
Might have done that. Well, cool. How'd that show go? How was his show?
He's been amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful, yeah. And the Monday Night Teas went well, too. I was told. It was,
Yeah, you weren't there, but you had it in the capable hands of your friend Bella Luna.
Yes.
Capable hands of your friend Bella. Well, who's coming this week to the Monday Night Teas?
It is Tito's birthday party. We've got G's Louise in from Chicago. We got Tito. We got a ton of amazing performers.
Is that a Tito Benito?
That is a Tito Benito. That is a Cuban Missile Crisis birthday.
He's the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it is his birthday. It's a celebration. It's going to be exciting and fun. That's this coming week. And then we've got all sorts of shows coming up. Meat Fest is in a few weeks. All sorts of fun holiday shows are coming up. So if you go to brownpapertickets.com, you can get tickets for all of the upcoming Monday Night Teas shows that are available. Isn't there a Curiosities show coming up?
Curiosities at the end of the month, right before the Prince show.
Nice. The Prince show will be coming.
Yes, the Prince show is coming back.
That's great. All right, so all these shows are available. If you go to Monday Night Tea, or I'm sorry, if you go to, MondayNightTeas.com is the place to go. Or else if you go to Facebook.com/Monday Night Teas, you can join there and see photos of performers and see upcoming shows and read about old shows and have a good time and have fun and commiserate with people who like things like you. Right? Is that what they like? Or they like things that you like, not things like you. Oh, my Christ. Perhaps people do like things like you. And if you are a long-running historic burlesque show, I have no idea. I feel like my mouth doesn't work anymore. I keep dropping letters and stuff. I sound like a fucking waterhead. Jesus Christ, stop. Well, cool. So the Monday Night Teas is available. Go to brownpapertickets.com. Go to facebook.com/Monday Night Teas. By the way, waterhead may not be a politically correct term now that I think about it. Probably is not. Yeah, I should think about that. Sandwich waterhead left the avocado off my goddamn sandwich earlier today. I'm an idiot.
Wow.
Yeah, that's trouble. That's got to be bad. We should look that up, really, because I think it's because it's an old school saying for like a village idiot, like a dummy, right? But it had to manifest itself into something terrible, correct?
Are they going to know we're talking about them?
Who, the Waterheads?
Yeah.
You mean there's a family, the Waterheads? I like that. I remember that.
It's an old SNL.
I think it was. Yeah, I remember that. Leslie Nielsen and Leslie Nielsen. I was going to say Lorraine Newman, and the LN went to Leslie. Dudes, that's how the brain works. All right, that's how the bees work. Huh. Fuck.
He was amazing.
Leslie Nielsen?
Leslie Nielsen on Saturday Night Live?
No,
my God.
he was horrific. But literally, that's how your brain, like the bees went LN in my head, and I said Leslie Nielsen instead of Lorraine Newman. Jesus Christ. Because I was going to call her Connie at first because she was Connie Conehead in the sketch. Connie Waterhead. Oh my Christ. All right, forget it. Dude, let's just close up shop. Turn out the lights. We got to just get out of here. This is terrible. My mouth no longer works. So go to the Monday Night Teas and have fun. And certainly more fun than you had in the last 30 seconds as I had a meltdown with my mouth. If you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com, you go to the Joe Business page. First of all, you go to every page. There's a little donation thing on the upper left-hand side, and you can click on that. Donate to the show, subscribe individually, send individual donations, or you can subscribe by month, $2, $5, $10, or $25 a month. That's great. We appreciate it. And I will tell you this, there are changes coming to the Joe Business page. I think soon. But I'm not sure exactly when, because that's a big triangulation between me and Farmer Ryan and artist David Hernandez and all of that stuff. But while you're on the page now, you can go there and you can get the For the Life of Schmitty download, which won't last much longer. You can get Schmitty Comes Alive if you want to get it. I mean, I've already given it away for free, but why not? Go ahead and pick it up again. Yurt dirt shirts, tweakedaudio.com. We've got year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and year 6 of this podcast available individually or as part of the Reservoir Schmidt Dogs box set. And of course, there's artwork for the show that will be autographed by me and Lily and David. Well, that's another tough one because that's a triangulation between me and David and everything. There were some people who ordered some artwork and it didn't come through. And then I had to whatever the fuck, who cares? But I mean, if you want artwork, let me know and we will do our best to fill that need. But I know there were people who were waiting and then I just finally refunded their cash because it just couldn't happen. So that's fine. Good for them. And everybody's all happy. We're all made whole. Everything's good. But also there's an Amazon pennant on the wall right now of Joe Business. And if you click on that, you get to the Amazon store and then you can click through to Real Amazon and you can buy things and we get credit for it. Now I mentioned that I was going to be telling you about people who buy things and I would read them on the air, but I did not bring my list today because I was rushing out of the house to go get a sandwich. Idiot. So I will continue that tradition next week. And if you buy anything on Amazon, let me know. And I should tell you this, this is kind of important because a lot of people do their online shopping for Christmas and the holidays. If you could use our store, that would be the best. That would be the best gift you could ever give us. You could stop being podcast Grinches and start making my podcast heart grow 3 sizes too big. By using our Amazon link and then telling me about it, and I'll read it here on the air, and we'll get credit for it, and that'll be super cool. So thank you so much for thinking of us. And again, next week I will begin the tradition, or reenact the tradition, or reinvigorate the tradition, or reanimate the tradition of telling people what you bought and who you are. But my list is right now at home on my desk because I got in last night late on a plane. It was like 12 midnight. I don't know if you took. I took a bus. I was on a plane, a train, and an automobile yesterday. No, I was not on a train. I was on a bus. But that doesn't rhyme. Planes, buses, and automobiles? Nah, I don't see that movie. Although in that movie they were also on a bus. They did. They took every fucking mode of transportation you could possibly believe. Our speedometer is melted, and do you know how fast you're going? Well, you'd know that better than we would, sir, because again, our speedometer is melted. God damn, is that movie the greatest? So awesome. So we went to the game and then we were talking about possibly going to a minor league hockey game when we were up there because her friends Dina and John are starting to kind of get into hockey a little bit. And so I was there talking to them and I was wondering, because minor league hockey is notorious for goonery. I mean, it's just guys dropping the gloves and hitting dudes in the head. Yeah, like shenanigans and fighting. And I should tell you this again, I'm trying hard not to be a psychopath, and I'm changing, and I feel myself changing in my old age, as a matter of fact, as I sit on a couch with a fucking heating pad and 3 blankets on top of me, and I'm just like, oh, I'm going to drink this warm milk, and then I'm going to pass out. I mean, it's just that bad. It's so bad. But this is also, we were talking about the hockey fights, and I go to a lot of guys fight, and they go, well, actually, they're kind of cracking down on it in the league. If you fight, you actually miss a game. You're suspended for a game after. And it's minor league, so you don't really want to miss any games because you're trying to impress upon the coaches and stuff that you're good enough to play. So you don't want to be skipping any time, so maybe you don't fight. And I was telling John about it because he doesn't know much about hockey. And I said, you know what? I love hockey fights. I've loved them my whole life. I loved them in the 70s, the 80s. I would watch videotapes. I actually bought videotapes from a guy who would make compilations of hockey fights. And I'd watch Clark Gillies and Bob Probert and these old school dudes, Terry O'Reilly, just fucking winging hands, and Joey Kosar and Ty Domi and Dave Semenko. It was just fun to watch. All these guys just throwing, and Ben Wilson. I'm going to name a bunch of hockey fighters as we just go off the air here, folks. Paul Holmgren, that guy could throw. And as I'm talking to John about it, I go, but the thing is, it was just this past year, because I'm a huge hockey fan and I love the Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks don't really fight. They have a couple of guys who'll get in your face, but they crack down on fighting this year in the NHL. Like when these guys will drop the gloves, the linesmen will jump right in and won't let them fight. They'll grab them and then take them right to the penalty box. And because in the old days, they would drop the gloves and they would skate back to center ice and they'd square off and then they'd have a fight and the fans would go crazy because fans love fighting. Some fans don't, but some fans do. But just this past year, the past 2 years, I've been watching hockey, and I love hockey fights, and I still tape them and I want to watch them and stuff. But at the same time, is there anything more stupid in sports than a fucking hockey fight? There really isn't. There really is not. Think about that. That means in the middle of a game, you're watching a sporting contest between 2 teams who are representing cities, professionals, mind you, and in the middle of the game, 2 of them take off parts of their clothing and start fighting on the ice. They actually drop their gloves and they make fists at one another and they punch each other in the face. That's That's not part of hockey. It shouldn't be. I mean, I guess for years it was, and guys were policing dudes and there was fighting, and I love it. Again, I'm not being a hypocrite here. I love hockey fights. I'm not saying they should ban them, but I'm also saying they should fucking ban them because they are ridiculous to watch. It's just dudes in pajamas punching each other in the face. That's what it becomes. Hockey's a game of skill and speed. That's what they're wearing. Literally, any fucking uniform is just basically pajamas with your name on the back. So when you're playing hockey, you're all like, dude, we're totally the Minnesota Wild and we're coming to your town to score goals and skate fast. But then the second one of the guys drops the gloves, he's like, hi, I'm Ben from the Minnesota Wild and I'm going to punch you in your face while I'm wearing my pajamas. I mean, it's so fucking stupid. It's dumb. Think about it. Dude, if it happened in basketball, okay? Because look, there are fights in basketball, there are fights in baseball, there are fights in football. But when there's a fight in baseball and the guys jump all over to one another and then because they try to separate them and it turns into a thing. But dude, imagine if in baseball a guy got hit with a pitch. Okay. And then he started to walk out toward the mound and the pitcher dropped his fucking mitt and everybody backed off and let them fight on the fucking diamond. And then they got put in the penalty box for 5 minutes and they got to come back. Dude, if you were in a bar and you're wearing pajamas with your name on them and you dropped your fucking gloves on the ground and you started punching a dude in the face, you'd be in jail for 5 years.
Yes, you would.
First of all, if a guy ran up to you in a bar and hit you with a stick in the shoulder, he would go to jail for 5 years. And then you threw your winter gloves on the ground and you punched him in the face, you'd go to jail for 5 more years. Jesus Christ. Hockey players should be getting raped on a regular basis because they should already, you know what? That's what they should do. They should make the penalty box more like jail. They should have a big convict in there waiting to rape you when you fucking go inside because then maybe then you wouldn't fight. Yes, they should. Maybe then you wouldn't goddamn fight because it's the dumbest thing in the world. You're committing assault on another human being. You are having a bar fight in the middle of a sporting contest, and it makes no sense. I love it. I've loved watching it for years, but Jesus Christ, it is truly the dumbest thing in the history of sports that two men can just drop off part of their clothing and just start fighting, and everybody has to stop and watch. They stop and watch. I can't fucking understand it. The referees let them fight, and then they skate and they go, all right, you guys done fighting? We'll just throw you in the penalty box for 5 minutes. Ain't the fucking street to be in jail for goddamn 5 fucking years. It makes no sense. I never thought that way. I always loved hockey fights, and I still do, but I never saw the absurdity of it until I started to go, you know what? You're wearing a face shield, and you could get a concussion, and you're fighting for what? Because a guy was near you on the ice? Come on. Literally, this show starts as a tiny snowball, and at the end, the hundreds are dead at the bottom of a ravine. I mean, I get that. Believe me, if there's any show in the history of the world that does not need to be transcribed for posterity, it's this one. I like when nobody can see the seams. I like when I'm able to kind of just, fly with the bees wherever. When I have to actually stop the bees and ask for directions, that's not fun. I just like unleashing the bees, but when the bees have to stop in mid-flight and we all have to kind of look at each other and bust out a fucking map, that's not fun at all. I want to saddle up these bees and ride, goddammit! I'm done.